is the NBA on NBC.
And good evening, everyone. This is the Rooftop Sports, and here we are, along with Epic Sea Films. We are covering Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder, aka the former Seattle Supersonics, against the Indiana Pacers, which was once led by the great Reggie Miller. Now it is led by Tyrese Halliburton. And Epic Sea Films, let me have a question for you. Did you feel nostalgic by that intro?
I don't remember the NBC intro. I don't really remember that era of basketball. I never really watched it.
Well, here's my reaction to that. And that's exactly what my reaction could be by the end of this game, because the Oklahoma City Thunder, they are one game away from winning the NBA Finals for the first time in their Oklahoma history. Now, in shared history, if you want to get that technical, it would be the franchise itself, its first NBA championship since 1979, which was once owned by the Seattle Supersonics. And Epic Sea Films, after all these years since 2008, it's been 20 years since Seattle had a basketball team. Do you feel any animosity still towards Oklahoma, or do you think that everything's kind of washed out?
I think people are still upset. And I think that most people who were true Sonics fans would hate if Oklahoma City won a championship. They would dislike it a lot. How could you be a true Sonics fan and be okay with Oklahoma City winning?
I mean, we could all go back that. Unfortunately, I'll just say, as much as people would like to say Oklahoma stole the team, that's what they say, it was also lost by City of Seattle and their bad politics. Like, did you know that at the very last day, right before the ruling, because there was a lawsuit going on between the City of Seattle and Clay Bennett, the former owner, Judge Peckman actually had a ruling in place where, had Seattle won the case, which I think that's where it was headed towards, where she was going to actually rule in Seattle's favor, and had Seattle won that case, they would have had 2 years to play in Seattle, so they would have been gone by 2010, or the lease would have been over by 2010. But had Oklahoma City won, they would have had 1 year. So because Seattle could have just appealed. But unfortunately, our traitor mayor, Greg Nichols, unfortunately took the settlement deal to break the 2 years of the lease. And not only did the team go, so did our history, our colors, and our logos went with it. Now, Clay Bennett, credit to him, he was gracious enough to let us keep our banners and our logos and all those retired numbers, because I think there is one thing that Seattle fans and Oklahoma City fans can agree, is that none of them want to share their history. Like, can you name one Oklahoma City fan that would actually care about Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Ray Allen? Do you think they would care about that kind of history?
No, they don't care about that. But most people only know surface level knowledge of what really went down. When it looks down at it, everybody thinks that Clay Bennett stole the team from us. That's what it looks like. You know, the only other person that people usually get mad at is Howard Schultz. But I think most people who are, if you're a Sonics fan, you want Sonics history. You don't want Oklahoma City history. If you're an Oklahoma City person, you don't want Sonics history because you didn't grow up on that team. Like, I feel like you'd be more, if you lived in Oklahoma City, most Oklahoma City people, like, I know they don't like Texas, but some of them might have been Dallas fans, or they might have chose a team in some other state, where it's like some random state that they actually had, maybe their like parents were from, you know, and maybe they had a really good player they liked. Oh, maybe they like Steve Nash and they were a Phoenix fan or something. You never know.
You just never know. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Dallas was in their most proximate before they had their NBA team. Now, here's the thing. Before we sound like that we're just dwelling about it, I swear to all of you, we have no animosity towards Oklahoma City. They got their team the way they did because Seattle just couldn't keep it. Combination of Howard Schultz, blah, blah, blah. But we can just go on and on. Let's get back to the basketball game itself now.
Yeah.
The Pacers are trailing 3-2. They're in a must-win situation, and if they don't win, the NBA Finals is over. Now, if they do win, they can force a Game 7 going to Oklahoma. Now, how do you feel about the Indiana's chances to win Game 6?
I think Indiana's chances, and one of their most key players to this whole situation, is Pascal Siakam. He has NBA Finals experience before. He's won a championship back with Toronto 2019. I think he is a very key player to this whole situation. And it also depends on how much Tyrese Halliburton's ankle can hold up, that calf, or what it's a calf injury, but how much his calf actually holds up and if it's really that bad or not. If those two things can go really well for them, they have a chance to be very competitive in this game.
Now, what would be something that Oklahoma should look at if they are to win the NBA Finals for their first time in their Oklahoma history?
I think a very underrated player is Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren is like one of their most undervalued players on their whole team because he's so versatile in what he can do. Shooting three-pointers, doing blocks, doing rebounds, a whole bunch of things. They are a really good player, well-rounded.
Must I remind you, you took Chet Holmgren away from me. That's who I was planning to draft. And you took him away from me. Do you still feel proud of that?
Hey, you draft when you draft. If you wanted him, you should have drafted him earlier if you wanted him that badly, Or, sometimes people take players you want, you just have to work around it,
That's great. But there's one thing I do have from fantasy basketball that you don't. Do you know what that is?
What?
I am still 2012 fantasy basketball champion.
Yeah, but you still dwell in the past, so far in the past,
Ouch.
Yes.
Still trying to see what the lineup is, but they are announcing their starting lineup, and I think Tyrese Halliburton is the one that's being called up. Yep, that's Tyrese Halliburton, 6'5", from Iowa State. And this game shall be starting within a few minutes, and once they do, it is do or die for the Indiana Pacers. And tragically, they had their chances to win. They had chances to win Game 5, except they kept turning the ball over. And in Game 4, they were on the verge of taking a 3-1 series lead, and then all of a sudden, it just got away from them real quickly. SGA has been the biggest key to that team. And the other thing that I am very curious about, that we're all curious about, us Seattle Supersonics fans are very curious about, is does Adam Silver actually get an expansion conversation going? Because he says he's going to, but you know what they say? Actions speak louder than words.
Well, the two big things that happened recently that kind of could get the ball rolling is the fact that the Boston Celtics were sold, and the fact that the Lakers were sold. And the Lakers were just sold for like $10 billion, like the most expensive franchise ever.
Yeah, they were bought by the owner of the Dodgers. So the Buss family finally just cashed out because I think they were just done with this whole Lakers business.
Yeah. And so, but the only thing that they might try to hold on for is seeing the price of Portland Trailblazers because they're in the Northwest, which would be kind of ridiculous, even though they already have this other information. But that could be their excuse. They could use that.
All these sales just happen. They just keep happening at the most just an awkward time. Like as soon as an NBA TV deal happens and it's like, oh, Boston Celtics are about to sell. Or if it's like Adam Silver says something, it's like, oh, Portland Trailblazers. Adam Silver says something, oh, the Los Angeles Lakers. So that could set the price on how much an expansion team is going to be. So we'll have to see where that goes. But until then, we are now hoping that the Indiana Pacers can at least force a Game 7. And they do have an advantage to do, though, because they do have the home court for Game 6, only to go to Game 7, where it will be back in Oklahoma City.
Do you like the Oklahoma City colors or the Indiana Pacer colors more?
I never liked Oklahoma City colors. And even without the bias, I think they have the ugliest colors. And this is without the whole Sonics thing. Like, I'll take my Sonics hat off and say, yes, the Oklahoma City colors are butt ugly.
This is a weird combination. Blue and orange is a weird combination.
Well, we're about to have the tip-off, and Chet Holmgren's going to be the one jumping against the longtime center, Miles Turner. And this game's about to start, and this game is brought to you by SeatGeek. And now here's the tip-off, and it's now controlled by Oklahoma. That is SGA, who should be the MVP this season. I think he is the MVP. Now here's Jalen Williams. No, that's Dort at the top, and then gets it over to Jalen Williams. And now here is Chet Holmgren, and he goes all the way. No, he doesn't get another rebound, and that is going to be the first 2 points for Oklahoma City. And now Indiana is taking up the ball, and they're immediately racing to the rim and out of bounds, and ball possession belongs to Indiana. Already 2 quick points by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now Pacers are trying to get the ball out, and it looks like we got a foul. And I wonder what this foul is about. Trying to figure it out what it really is. Looks like it's a foul on the center. He just pushed Miles. Looks like he pushed Pascal Siakam or some other player. And actually, it's going to be a technical foul. So that's going to be a free throw plus possession. And the free throw is made. And I think that was Therese Halliburton. So the Indiana gets on the board as Indiana makes that free throw off a technical foul. And now he's looking for someone. And now he's got it. Gets it over to Miles Turner. And he goes for it. And that misses. Rebound Holmgren. And now here's SGA coming up with the ball. He's getting the screen. He gets it. And he's getting a little bit bottled up and double team. And Indiana gets the ball. And this is a 2-on-1 opportunity. And Halliburton for 3. And that's in and out. And I would just say they don't have to take these threes. That's why the NBA has kind of been unwatchable. Now here is Holmgren. Now he resets to Hartenstein. Back to SGA. Or I think actually that's Jalen Williams up from the top. And now he's going for a step back 3. And he misses. And now that's going to be the rebound. And that's going over to Pascal Siakam, the former Toronto Raptor and champion. He is posting up, kicks it over, and here is the 3, and he misses again. And ball belongs to Indiana. Don't you think there's quite a bit of three-point shooting? It's kind of a bit excessive at this point.
Not necessarily. It's different styles for different plays,
Now they're going Indiana with the ball. Halliburton looking for someone, and they're going for the 3 already, and he misses again and again. Stop with these 3-pointers when you have 14 seconds left on the clock. Here's SGA. He's been heavily defended, and he's going for it. And the ball is stolen again. Another turnover for Oklahoma. And now here's Therese Halliburton getting up to the court, and he's dribbling it up. Is he going to take the 3? I don't know. It looks like he's trying to get open. Now he gets the easy lane and misses, and that's going to be out of bounds, possession Oklahoma. And this has been a pretty sluggish basketball game, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
As they're taking up the ball, I think this is Jalen Williams, one of the all-stars for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Pat kicks it off to Holmgren, and he almost lost the ball, and now he is going to post up, and he goes for it, and he makes it. Nice post move by Chet Holmgren, and now it's 4-1 Indiana. Now here is Pascal Siakam, kicks over to Miles Turner, the longtime center. He's trying to make a move, and he gets fouled, and now he's going to go to the line. Foul committed by Chet Holmgren. And Chet Holmgren had a nice post move on Pascal Siakam. Really easy. And this is Chet Holmgren's sophomore season, by the way. And he has been one of the most terrific players for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the free throw is missed by Miles Turner. I think I also had Miles Turner on my fantasy basketball team. And they're still showing off the post move by Chet Holmgren. Indiana's got to make a basket. And he do. And it's going to be 4-2 Oklahoma lead. We're at 9 minutes and 37 seconds left in the quarter. Jalen Williams takes it off, and he is getting the screen by Dort. And now Jalen Williams has awesome moves, and he gets to the rim, and he makes it. And now it's going to be 6-2 Oklahoma. And now here's Halliburton, and he's struggling. Now he goes to the rim, and he misses again. If I'm Indiana, I would call the timeout if Oklahoma scores one more time. Now here's Jalen Williams getting a little bit of a double team, and now he's going all the way to the rim, and that's going to be out of bounds, but ball possession belongs to Oklahoma City.
I'm not worried.
I am. I'm already congratulating Oklahoma. I congratulated them after game 4. And now here's Jalen Williams open for the dunk, and Indiana had no idea what was going on. And yes, a timeout's been called by Rick Carlisle, and I completely agree with it. Like, Jalen Williams had a nice little spin move and went right to the rim, and they're showing it on the replay. He was just like, he just got it like so easily. And now we're going to go into the break. And now I'm trying to see what I should play. I got... You like chicken fingers? Like, do you like chicken tenders, Epic C?
Yes, I do, but I think you like them more than me.
Try our hand-breaded chicken tenders, perfectly seasoned and served with a choice of sides, golden fries, fluffy biscuits, homemade mashed potatoes, creamy mac and cheese, fresh side salad, fresh coleslaw, plus enjoy a dipping sauce on the side. Come in and treat yourself to the best comfort food around. Visit us today and satisfy your cravings. Yeah? Do you want some of that?
I'm not really a foodie. I'm not really that hungry right now. But maybe I could try that one of these days.
Yeah, it's all the way in North Bend. So head over to the Hot and Crispy Chicken in North Bend near Safeway. Cannot miss. They've been in business for a few years, and they're also owned by the same pizza guy that I keep showing those ads. And we did go to that fantasy baseball party, and also that pizza place is going to be home to the, what's it called? It's going to be home to our fantasy football draft. So how did you feel about the 8-2 start by Oklahoma City? It seems that it is destined that they are going to win this championship.
I don't think they're destined. I think it's just like, Indiana's just rushing their opportunities and stuff like that. You need to slow down, take a little bit more time to think things through, and make more high quality actually shoot more high quality shots. I think they'll do fine. They just need to calm down. The pressure is on them, and sometimes when you first start out and have that pressure on you, you need to relax. If you can relax, voila, you'll be right back in your rhythm.
I don't know. I'm just saying that whenever a team wins game 5 after a 2-2 series tie, usually that team wins the series.
Not necessarily. Anything can happen. It's
automatic. It's an 80% chance.
That's not automatic. There's still a chance the other team has to pull it off.
And it looks like we are almost back from the break. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I'm seeing commercials. Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt in a commercial.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Chris Pratt, remember that Mario movie that we saw together?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a great movie.
Yep. I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again.
Mm-hmm. They're making a Legend of Zelda movie.
Yep, that seemed to be due.
Yeah. So they're working on that. They're working on a lot of those video games to movie adaptations now, or to TV shows. There's a lot of them going on now. Everything's just a remake or a sequel to something.
I guess
or
so.
A prequel. I just saw How to Train Your Dragon last weekend. Yeah, they remade that movie.
And we are back from the break as they're showing Tyrese Halliburton as he was going for a 3, and it just went in and out. And they were just shooting, in my opinion, they were just shooting way too many threes. And Halliburton has struggled so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, I sometimes say that Halliburton is not their best player. I could argue that he's their third best player on Indiana.
And we're back, and now here's Indiana with the ball.
Mm-hmm. I would say Pasco, Siakam, and Miles Turner is better.
And now he's going to the rim. And now here is a 3-point attempt. And this is again, I'm telling you, stop shooting 3-pointers. It's not going. It's too early in the game to be doing stuff like that. And now here's a nice pass to Hartenstein. Gets over to Chet Holmgren, who's going to post. And he gets around with an easy bucket. Telling you, that's what happens. You keep shooting 3-pointers. And if I were you, Sonics fans, this is a place for you to vent if you really feel this way. And now here's Tyrese Halliburton. And he gets it over, and he nearly turns the ball over. Miles Turner trying to post, and he is rejected. Now here's Siakam with a jumper. He makes it. And finally, Indiana makes their shot and making it 10-4. Which team do you all root for? We're cheering for the Indiana Pacers because we're Sonics fans. We can't cheer for Oklahoma. We just can't. And now here is Chet Holmgren. He gets it off to Jalen Williams. And Jalen Williams, who's been a huge contributor, who's a huge contributor for Game 5. And he's going for the 3, and he misses. And now that's Pascal Siakam with the rebound. And he's going to go all the way to the rim. And he gets it. And 1. And he is going to go to the line. What an amazing drive by Pascal Siakam. He gets one more chance at the line for the free throw to possibly make it 10-7. Did you see that? It was a foul by Dort.
Yep. I told you Pascal Siakam is the key to the game.
Yeah, they're showing it again, and he really just threw it up there while he was fouled, and he made it.
Yep.
It's those and ones that really make a difference.
Yep.
And now here's Siakam to try to make it a 3-point play.
No. But when I root for a basketball,
Makes it.
Root for the Storm.
Yeah, the Seattle Storm, I haven't really paid attention much this season.
They're middle of the pack.
Yeah, I guess so. Now here's SGA, and he doesn't make it. He thought he was fouled. Here's Halliburton at the very top. He gets it over to the side, and he is going for 3 and makes it. And now the game is tied at 10-10.
Woo! Woo!
Showing absolutely no bias there. Here's SGA. He kind of traveled, and he makes it. Travel. Hey, travel. Travel. He makes it. Now here's Halliburton. Gets it over the top. Miles Turner, do not shoot that 3. Here's number 2, and he kicks it out. And here's Halliburton at the top, trying to go to the rim. Gets it back. And now here is possibly another 3-point attempt for 3. And he makes it again. And now Indiana takes the lead to make it a 13-12 lead. And now here is Jalen Williams taking it up from the top. Now here is Chet Holmgren. And he's going to try to make it. No, he's trying to post. Doesn't want to travel. Now here's Jalen. Oh, and it looks like it was a traveling violation called on Chet Holmgren. And also on next commercial break, I have a video about Dennis Rodman. Remember the great Dennis Rodman from all the way back? And I missed another shot. It was a nice 2-point shot. And now it's 15-12. Now here's Jalen Williams taking up top. Now here's SGA. He's getting heavily defended by number 2. And now Chet Holmgren over to Dort. And now here's Jalen Williams going to the rim. And that is going to be nope, it's going to be a blocking foul. They thought it was an offensive foul, but it's a blocking foul otherwise. Now it was with 1 second left on the clock. But that means he gets 2 trips to the line, 2 shots at the line. I thought he was already set, so I think that should have been offensive foul. Like, he was clearly set. Like, how is that not an offensive foul? Like, would you say that's offensive foul?
What I would say is a lot of calls in sports are very subjective. It's hard to say clear cut because, is someone twitching and is that considered a movement? Is someone not? How much do they have to be truly set?
I guess so. 15-13 Oklahoma City.
Like, just at a quick glance, you might think it should have been an offensive foul, but hey, they called it something different.
Jalen Williams scored 40 points in 35 minutes of play. And now SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's on the bench. And missed the free throw is Jalen Williams and rebound Indiana. Now here is Indiana. They're bringing it up. Don't have to shoot the 3. Just control the game. Control the possession. Protect the ball. And going to the side. Now here's a 3-point attempt. And he makes it again. 3 3-pointers in a row by Indiana.
They're taking their more time. They're doing better passing now. So you can passing
much better ball movement. Yeah, and Indiana nearly lost the ball. Here's Hartenstein, and he makes it. The guy who idolizes Detlef Schrempf. And now we've got, here's on the court. Here's Hartenstein defended. Or no, Hartenstein's defending. Now here is Therese Halliburton going for a fadeaway shot, and he misses. Not this time. I'm telling you, you got to slow it down. And it looks like Indiana stole the ball and taking it up top. Here's a three-pointer, and he makes it again. That's 4 3-pointers in a row, and Indiana is on fire from beyond the arc, even though I do think that they should play a little bit more traditional basketball, not just running gun three-pointers. And now here is, and out of bounds, possession, Oklahoma, and Halliburton didn't seem happy about the call. And Halliburton had that steal. Not Halliburton, it was someone else. Great defensive plays by Indiana. And now here is a possession, and Oklahoma finally ends that scoring run. And now here's number 8, and he gets around, but he is heavily defended. And I think this is Halliburton passes off to number 1. He's going for the 3. And yeah, I think you got to chill out with those 3-pointers. And again, another 3. Oh, and he makes it to make it 24-17. And Halliburton is doing it. Yep, and timeout's been called by Oklahoma City. And are you ready for a Dennis Rodman video? Here it is. I'll show it right over here. The video is about me making a case that I think Dennis Rodman should have been the 96 Finals MVP.
In the 1995-1996 NBA season, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls won an at-the-time regular season record 72 games. They went on to eventually win the 1996 NBA Finals against the Seattle Supersonics in 6 games and were considered the greatest NBA team in history. Michael Jordan went on to win the 1996 Finals MVP, which was an amazing moment, considering that he had lost his father 3 years earlier.
This is for Daddy. I'm very happy for you.
But what if I were to tell you that it was his teammate Dennis Rodman that should have won the Finals MVP? Now, why is that? You will find out after a word from our sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. Now, before we get into the reasons why I think Dennis Rodman should have been the MVP of the 1996 NBA Finals, let's go over some stuff that may have not been remembered between the Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls. In terms of offensive production, the Sonics actually outplayed the Bulls in efficiency by beating them in every offensive category. With the lackluster offensive production the Bulls had, 1996 was their worst offensive performance out of their 6 finals appearances. To go further, Michael Jordan suffered terrible offensive numbers by scoring 27.3 points per game in the finals, which was his only finals performance of averaging less than 30 points per game. Not only that, his field goal percentage was the second worst out of all finals MVPs. Even Jordan's teammates Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, and Tony Kukoc struggled offensively in the finals as well. Much of these offensive struggles by the Chicago Bulls can be credited to the fantastic defense of the Seattle Supersonics, led by Gary Payton and Hersey Hawkins. With these awful performances, how did the Chicago Bulls still manage to win the NBA Finals against the Seattle Supersonics? Well, here I am to explain, and I will explain further once you subscribe and like this video. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the Sonics and the Bulls had a standstill going into the middle of the second quarter.
And Kemp fires from deep.
Things to notice, Michael Jordan did not score until later in the first quarter, as he did struggle to find the basket thanks to Seattle's solid defense on Jordan and Pippen. Jordan also failed to score 30 points, where he had a 9-game streak doing so in the finals. Surprisingly, Bulls center Luke Longley was their most efficient scorer. At one point in the second quarter, the Bulls missed 12 of 15 shots, which caused a 19-6 run by the Sonics.
The poor shooting continues by Chicago. Perkins with the good look and hits again.
However, Dennis Rodman was the difference maker in the quarter. He drew an offensive foul that put Sonics' third leading scorer Detlef Schrempf on foul trouble, where it was his third foul of the game. What was more impactful than that, Dennis Rodman drew a flagrant 2 foul on Sonics' Frank Rakowski, which Sonics coach George Karl claimed that Rodman flopped.
That elbow that Frank Rakowski was a flop.
Nonetheless, the foul gave the Bulls 2 shots and possession. The foul frustrated Rakowski, and he had some words with Rodman. Referee Joey Crawford charged Burkowski with a technical foul immediately, ejecting him from the game. This sequence by Rodman led to the Bulls scoring 5 free throws. They rode the...
We are back from the break. Time to get back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And now Oklahoma takes a three-pointer and rebound Indiana. And looks like Oklahoma is now playing sluggish on their end. And now they're taking it up the court. And now they're going straight to the rim. And he is fouled. What you think of the video so far about Dennis Rodman?
My whole thing is that a lot of times when people say MVP, it usually goes to the person who scores the most points. Because scoring is what wins you the game.
Do you think Dennis Rodman still made an excellent case for MVP with all those rebounds and all the things that he caused?
Yeah, but those things that he caused, like those technical fouls, they don't factor that into MVP status. That has nothing to do with MVP. So I think the only argument you have would be like if he had a really good rebounding night.
I guess so.
That's how I look at it. Because you causing people to be fouled out of the game, they're not going to call out an MVP status.
And they missed 2 free throws. Indiana missed 2 free throws, a huge lost opportunity.
No.
And now it's going to be the chance for Oklahoma to really capitalize.
Mm-hmm.
And now here's SGA, and he kicks it out to number 22, and he fakes it to 3, and he misses, and Oklahoma is struggling.
Yeah.
And now here's dribbling it up, takes it to the top, and now he takes it to the rim, and looks like he is fouled.
Yeah, it's like Rodman, like a player that could be considered similar to Rodman would be like Draymond Green. Draymond Green would be the player that's similar to Rodman. The way like how people would get mad at him and stuff like that, like they'd give MVP to like Curry, but not to him.
Obi Toppin going for the free throw, and he makes it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be 17-25, and now Pascal Siakam, he is back onto the court.
Yep.
As he's taking over for Miles Turner.
Pascal Siakam.
Pascal Siakam really is the guy.
Yeah.
And now he's going for another free throw again, and he makes it. And now Indiana now has a comfortable, well, not so comfortable, but they have a 9-point lead so far. And now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is taking it up, gets the screen, gets over to number 22. And is he going to do something? And Indiana's defense is actually locking them down. And now here is SGA. Now he's going for the shot, and he misses. And now it's going to be rebound Indiana. And now here is at the top. Gets over to Siakam. He's getting defended by Alex Caruso. He's going to post, kicks it out to number 26 for 3. And he misses it. And again, they don't have to make 3-pointers on this one. Just slow it down, get the easy 2 points. I think that's what they got to do. And Chet Holmgren checks into the game for Isaiah Hartenstein.
I'm wondering if Tyrese Halliburton's dad's at the game.
So I'm sure he is.
You know, because they've been talking about that as big news in the playoffs this season.
The crazy thing is Halliburton was also on the Sacramento Kings, and that they made that trade to get Domantas Sabonis. Now we can safe to say that Indiana won that trade. And now here's SGA. He's aggressively going to the rim, and he misses again. Rebound Indiana. And now they're going to take it up to the top. And he's going to get some screens. And now he's defended by Holmgren. And now they're going to the side. And he's just passing it right across to Siakam. And now Siakam's trying to post, going for the fadeaway shot. And he misses. Rebound Caruso. And now here is a 3-point attempt by Oklahoma. And he makes it. All these lazy basketball jump shots, I don't like them. They're hardly going to the rim at all.
Why, you'd rather have Dunk City?
Yeah, I'd rather have Dunk City and going for the 3. And this is again. Can we stop shooting 3-pointers? They're shooting too much.
Live and die by the 3.
No, I don't like that kind of basketball. I don't like living and dying by the 3. And now rebound Indiana. They're not playing with Halliburton right now. And he throws it up, and that is going to be a foul. See, that's what you do. You just go to the rim and draw fouls. That is how you win the game.
But you know who started this 3-point trend? The Splash Brothers.
I mean, I don't blame them for it. If it worked for them, it worked for them, but it's just being overdone. Everyone else is now doing it.
Mm-hmm.
In history, Therese Halliburton was the first round 12th overall pick, so they actually got that right, except they just gave up on him so fast because they were all in on Domantas Sabonis, and he makes the free throw.
Yep. Well, Sacramento had that one really good season. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they fell apart. And I knew they weren't that great, but they were like a 3 seed or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And they had the whole thing with the beam, light the beam.
I guess so. And he makes the free throw to make it 28-20. And he's taking it up. Here's SGA. He gets the screen, sort of. And it's going to go over the 21. And he tried to kick it off to Caruso, but that's going to be out of bounds. 1 minute and 28 seconds left in the quarter. And he kicks out to SGA. And he goes for the fadeaway, and he makes it. Brings it to within a 6-point game. And Indiana has the ball up, gets the screen from Siakam, but Oklahoma's defense is just suffocating them as he goes around and he misses point-blank shot. He was pressured by Chet Holmgren as he gets the rebound, gets it back to SGA. SGA is starting out from the top, and he's defended, and it's stolen. That's a turnover. Here's a 2-on-1 opportunity. Goes for the rim, goes for the shot, and it's rebound Oklahoma as they couldn't make the shot. Now here's SGA. He's taking it from the top again. Defended by Siakam. He's being bottled up, and that is a foul. The fact that the Seattle Supersonics have had more recent playoff success than Sacramento says something. No offense. No one should be offended by that.
Well, it's very interesting to analyze what is really success, you know.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's going for the free throw. He has not been doing too. He's been struggling this game with 3 turnovers, and he goes for the free throw, and he misses the free throw.
Because would you rather have your team have more like first round playoff victories, or have or go further in the playoffs and at least have gone to the actual championship game? If you have a team that never went to the championship game but always won their a lot of times wins their first round, that's which one's more successful? Because you could have only been in the championship game one time, but it's you went further and so you had less first round victories than somebody else.
We got Halliburton. He is back into the game, and some fake moves are going on, but he's getting bottled up. And Oklahoma's defense is continuing to give trouble for Indiana. 20 seconds left, and you would think that this is the last play of the quarter. And Indiana, with their 3-point barrage, is what has kept them in the game. They have a 5-point lead, but they've been missing shots and turning the ball over since. And now SGA gets the screen. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, and SGA makes it with 1.9 left. And now he's just got to throw up a prayer, and he does. And it hits to the top of the rim. And here's my end of quarter music. And now it's back to the Dennis Rodman video. And actually, take me your thoughts on the first quarter before I get the Dennis Rodman video ready.
I think Indiana did great. I think one of their big successes was actually turnovers. I think them causing turnovers and actually stealing the ball was a huge thing for them. That's what kept them, I think, really in the game. And because they didn't really change their game plan, they just got better passing. They passed better, and that's what opened up them to have better 3-point shooting for them. But I think that was all caused by their defense of steals.
There we go. Now here's the rest of the video. This momentum going into the third quarter, where they were up by 11.
but the Sonics made a comeback to close the lead within 4 going into the fourth quarter.
The game is tied at 75.
In the fourth quarter, Tony Kukoc stepped up and sparked the offense,
Kukoc with a cluster score.
and Dennis Rodman got Sean Kemp to foul out of the game due to Rodman provoking Kemp to push Rodman out of frustration. The departure of Sean Kemp broke the momentum of the game for the Sonics, and the Bulls would win by 17. Rodman was a key factor of Game 1 with his 13 rebounds and his ability to draw key fouls, which caused Frank Rakowski to be ejected and Sean Kemp to foul out, as he was the best player on the Sonics in Game 1. In Game 2 of the NBA Finals, the first half between the Sonics and the Bulls was a standstill once again.
Payton with the steal and puts it down.
Although Michael Jordan scored 16 first-half points, the Sonics were able to at least control the rebounds from Dennis Rodman, thanks to a surprising performance from Sonics center Irvin Johnson, who collected 7 rebounds in 8 minutes of play, but unfortunately, he got into heavy foul trouble early, limiting his availability for the rest of the game. Also, Hersey Hawkins and Sam Perkins played well in the first half, keeping the Sonics in the game. And Sean Kemp put up this amazing dunk on Scottie Pippen.
Play through it.
In the second half, this is where Dennis Rodman made the most impact of the game by his impressive ability to rebound, where he ended up with 20 total rebounds and 11 offensive rebounds, which tied an NBA Finals record, which is also held by Elvin Hayes. His contributions helped the Bulls outscore the Sonics 30-20, including a 10-1 run sparked by Tony Kukoc. However, in the fourth quarter, the Sonics cut the lead from 11 down to 3 with less than a minute to play. The Bulls were at the free throw line, where Scottie Pippen missed both free throws, but Rodman got the rebound and caused the jump ball. He won the jump ball and then made a clutch free throw to put the game away to secure a Game 2 victory going into Seattle.
Well, that was Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls. And what were your thoughts on that?
Well, one thing I think I saw that you were talking about was about a big thing that comes into play that some people don't look at the stat is second chance points. Second chance points, because of those rebounds, they caused a lot of second chance points. You said earlier that they didn't have a lot as good of field goal shooting percentage, so that second chance points really helped them kind of stay in the contest and even win games.
Well, that's why I think Game 2 was a huge reason why I still think Dennis Rodman should have been the Finals MVP. And we are back from the break.
Yep, 20 rebounds.
He did. And it's 28-25 Oklahoma. I assume that you just looked that up. 28-25 Indiana. And now here's a three-point attempt. And again, stop with the three-pointers. I think if he just cut these three-pointers in half, especially the missed ones, he'd probably get at least 10 points out of it. And now here's SGA going for a fadeaway, and he makes it. Look at Oklahoma. They're taking easy jump shots while Indiana is just chucking three-pointers.
Yeah.
And he's going for and Indiana answers back, and now they get it back to a three-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Indiana has taken, it looks like they have taken more three-point attempts.
Mm-hmm. But they're holding their own in this game. You thought it was going to be a blowout, and they're holding their own in this game.
Whatever, man. Indiana has shot 15 three-pointers, and Oklahoma's only attempted 6. So I think it's clear which one has more three-point shooting.
Yeah.
And now they're taking it up to the top, and looks like he has an easy. He's a shot, and he makes it to make it 32-27. That was TJ McConnell making the jump shot. And now here is an attempt. This is going to be for Williams for three-pointer, and he misses it. And it's going to be a rebound by Indiana. They have an opportunity. No, they're going to reset. And looks like that's going to be a travel violation. 5-point Indiana lead, and looks like there's some disagreements going on right now. And who would have thought that this thing would go all the way to 7 games?
I thought it was possible. I never count on a team. No. That's something I think about a lot of times because these teams are very actually interesting because they're actually more like they play different styles of basketball. They just still match up well. Like I said, if Indiana has really good 3-point shooting, they can win games. They shoot a high percentage. Oklahoma City, if they get their rebounds and they do their small ball thing, like they do a lot of more jump shots or closer in range shots.
3-point shot. And again, enough with the 3-pointers. Jeez. And let's see. Are they going to go for another one? Nope, not this time. Here's Miles Turner. He's posting up. And that's going to be, I think that is like a 3-second violation, it looks like, or travel. But surprisingly, that's actually the first turnover by Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Turnovers can be a big factor.
They are a big factor in the game. And now here's SGA having defended. He's going for the shot. He's going for the fadeaway, and he makes it. SGA, he is nothing more than just a pure shooter on this Oklahoma team.
Would you say SGA is a super great athlete?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Now here's Miles Turner, and nope, that's going to be Indiana ball. Oklahoma ball. But Rooftop is the almighty God called analytics. And just 3-point shooting. And there's a nice
who won with small ball
by Jalen Williams.
What was that team? It was what was it? Golden State played a lot of small ball and won championships.
Timeout Indiana as their lead has just been absolutely squandered.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's finish that Dennis Rodman video. It's getting close.
In Game 3 in Seattle, the Sonics were expected to take advantage of their home court. However, the Bulls got off to a hot start, including Michael Jordan dominating the first half with 27 points and finished the game with 36. However, in the third quarter, Sonics defense cut that lead to as low as 12 before the end of the third quarter. There was hope for the Sonics to complete the comeback, but in the fourth quarter, the Bulls would respond and win the game by 22, and Dennis Rodman got Frank Rakowski thrown out once again by drawing a flagrant 2 foul. The Bulls were just one win away from their 4th NBA championship. With the Bulls 3 up in the series, it seemed that it was a formality that the Bulls were going to sweep the Sonics in the NBA Finals. However, that wouldn't be the case as the Sonics would dominate the Bulls and win 107-86, with the Sonics defense limiting Michael Jordan to a 6 of 19 shooting. The most notable highlight of the game was this moment.
Bulls in the midst of their second run.
Game 5 was much more competitive as the Sonics and Bulls were in very tight margins for 3 quarters of the game, with Michael Jordan carrying the team with 24 points going into the fourth quarter. But Sonics defense in the fourth quarter neutralized the Bulls, and Jordan only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter, and the Sonics would close the gap at 3-2 going into Chicago for Game 6. In Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Michael Jordan struggled, scoring just 5 of 19, but the Bulls were able to maintain their lead over the Sonics thanks to Dennis Rodman's rebounding, defense, and the ability to draw fouls on key Sonics players. At the start of the third quarter, the Sonics were within 5, but Dennis Rodman once again, with his rebounding and defense, sparked the Bulls on a 16-4 run, which put the game out of reach for the Sonics for the rest of the game.
And here's Pippen leading the 3-on-2 as they spread the floor. Pippen for Rodman on the right.
Ultimately, the Bulls won their 4th championship, and Michael Jordan won the NBA Finals MVP. As I explained throughout this video, you can see the evidence that Dennis Rodman should have won the 1996 Finals MVP because of his defense, rebounding, and the ability to draw fouls that put key Sonics players in constant foul troubles. Without Rodman's contributions on top of the Bulls struggling offensively, the Sonics could have won the NBA Finals, making it one of the biggest upsets in the history of sports, but Rodman prevented that. But those are my thoughts on Dennis Rodman.
What are your thoughts? Do you still think it belongs to Michael Jordan?
My thoughts are the foul argument doesn't matter. Causing fouls does not matter.
But Jordan scored was like 6 of 19 in Game 6. He did not seal that deal.
No, but what I'm saying is the foul argument isn't an argument for this whole conversation because a lot of people don't think about that as a stat. You causing fouls on people never gets recorded really as a stat. So the two stats you're talking about potentially is you're basically talking about rebounds versus scoring. Who was more impactful, a rebounder or a scorer? That's basically what you're arguing. Which way do you argue? Are rebounds or scoring more important? Because I think the foul argument doesn't work.
So you still think it goes to Jordan?
More likely, they would go with the person who scores the more points, the person who would contribute the most to the overall, because that's the overall success of the team.
Jordan did score 27 points in the NBA Finals in average.
He averaged that, didn't he?
Yep. So he was still a big thing.
Yeah. So that's still not nothing.
And we're back from the break, by the way, and Indiana has the ball. And now here's a fadeaway shot, and he makes it to make it a 34-31 lead. And whoever is scoring that, he has actually been a major factor. That's TJ McConnell, who's been a major factor. Now here's SGA, and he misses, and they're going to the line. He draws the foul.
Like Josh is saying, it's like, it's like points win the game, and then it's like, Jordan and Robin both contributed to the success of the game. Like that. But at the end of the day, you have to give it to somebody because the MVP is only most valuable player, not most valuable players.
You burned me. And that's going to be a free throw.
Mm-hmm. But I get what you were trying to do, and I get the argument you were trying to make, It was a good video.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now here's free throw by Jalen Williams, and he makes the free throw. It's going at 8:46 left in the quarter and the half. Here's TJ McConnell. He's trying to get it out. Now here's Therese Halliburton and gets it to McConnell. He fakes the three, gets to the rim, nearly turns the ball over. And now here's 23 throwing up a what? What?
Your reaction is that.
Oh man.
You hear what Josh said?
What?
They should make a new award.
Yeah. And now here's Jalen Williams going to, and it's a turnover and goes to Indiana. Now here's going to be TJ McConnell, goes for the fadeaway, and he makes it. He's been a huge factor. Now it's 8 minutes left in the quarter. And gets over to whoever that is. And he loses the ball. And Oklahoma's been turning the ball over like crazy. TJ McConnell gives it to Halliburton, trying to go for the three-pointer. And he makes it. He makes the three-pointer to give them a 6-point lead. Oh, Josh, he's all about that Dom Canzone reaction. I'll show that to you on next commercial break. You'll see it eventually, Epic C Films.
Okay.
It's
those steals. If Indiana wins this game,
and it looks like there's a foul called on Alex Caruso as he pushed number 23 in frustration.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
that's what it was. That's what led to the 3-point shot.
Yeah. It's those steals. If it's the steals and the turnovers, if they win, it's those two stats are going to be the big thing in this game.
Hey, Josh, I have a challenge for you. Since 1996, that's the last time the Sonics made it to the NBA Finals. Give me all the Game 6 scores starting in 1996. And, a big shot that's been made. Now it's 41-33. If you can do that for me, Josh. So, and timeout has been called by Oklahoma City. And, Josh, this is just for you. And Epic C Films, have an open mind on this. Yeah. The 0-2 pitch.
You gotta love these guys.
He literally... Just like literally
God.
check swing.
None
That's
of
a
those
dirt.
were in the strike zone.
It wasn't even in the strike zone, and he chuck swinged it. Like, why?
Like, literally, that wasn't Taylor Scott being good. That was just you
really
just
bad.
swinging at crap.
That's the state of the Seattle Mariners right now.
Didn't I tell you at the end of the beginning of the season I knew that we're not going to make the playoffs? I kind of knew it.
I knew it. I knew it before you did.
Yeah, but like I had no faith in them. But I still hear people because I go places and I hear people talk about it. Sounds like they have optimism for the Mariners to make the playoffs.
How about delusionalism? Hold on, let me. Do you like Mediterranean food?
What? Yes, I like Mediterranean food.
Now
Yeah.
sizzling at Apollo Mediterranean Greek food. Come enjoy our flat-top grilled Greek chicken and beef, Slovaki tender, juicy and bursting with Mediterranean flavor, served with savory yellow rice, fresh daily cut veggies for our crisp salads, homemade hummus, plus warm pita, and our signature tzatziki, perfect for a fresh filling meal made with care. Cold beer available. Order now at apollogreekfood.com. Come visit us for a delicious meal and a cold beer. We'd love to serve you.
Do they have lamb?
They might. Yeah, I can. If you would like me to ask, they have lamb.
When I go to a Greek place, a lot of times I like lamb.
I think for our fantasy draft, I think I want to do a catering order for chicken, and I think I want to switch it up. Maybe I want to do catering for chicken wings and all of that. Like I'll do a party size rather than pizza.
Yeah.
Maybe change it up, or maybe we could all contribute. Oh, look what Josh is doing. These are all history of Game 6. I think we know what that one is.
Yeah.
1996, Chicago won 87-75. And take a guess, who scored the last basket for the Seattle Supersonics in NBA Finals history, in Sonics history? Who was the guy?
Sean Kemp?
Nope, he fouled out.
Oh. Detlef Schrempf?
It was Detlef Schrempf. It was a lame duck three-pointer.
Okay.
So they were down 15. The game was pretty much already over. Like everyone was about to just explode out of the seats. And then it was a three-pointer. It was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then a few seconds later, Chicago wins. Oh, 97. This was when Steve Kerr made his game-winning two-pointer against the Utah Jazz, and it was the biggest shot of his career.
What's going to be interesting about this is what you're going to see the trend is that over time, the games are going to get higher scoring.
Game 7, if necessary, will be on Sunday and remains to be seen if I will do the NBA Finals for that game.
Mm-hmm. Because what, Mariners?
It will be... No, it's another don't quit your day job situation.
Okay. So I might be busy that day.
I guess I'll have to find someone else. And we are back from the break, and Oklahoma gets the ball, and 18 points by Indiana. He makes a huge difference. And now here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander taking it up from the top. And he has Holmgren open. He can't give it to him. And Holmgren for 3. And he misses it. And rebound Indiana. TJ McConnell is taking up the ball. He's been a major factor, defended by Caruso. He gets the screen, and now he has to take it back out. And now no Halliburton and right now. Don't have to go for the 3. Just take your time. And looks like a offensive foul. Yeah. Oh, in 1998, take a guess what was the significance of 1998 Game 6? What was the significance?
I don't know.
Oh, it was Michael Jordan's final shot as a Chicago Bull, pushing Brian Russell. And now here is SGA being defended, and now it's double teamed, and that is a steal. Another turnover by Oklahoma, and he takes it. Opportunity for the basket. Rebound McConnell, and he takes that to the number 1. Here's number 2, going for the step back 3. Again, stop it. You have the momentum. You're breaking it with all these bad 3-point shooting.
I told you it wasn't Halliburton. Halliburton's not the reason why they win a lot of these games. He won game one because of he made the game-winning shot.
Holmgren is missing it, and possible jump. Nope. And now Indiana gets the ball back, and here we go. And he gets to the rim. Nope. And looks like they lose the ball, but I think ball stays here. 1999, there was no game 6. Spurs won in 5. And they won by 1 point. And Latrell Sprewell tried to make that one last shot, but couldn't happen. And true or false, Patrick Ewing played in the 1999 NBA Finals.
NBA Finals?
Was Patrick Ewing playing in the NBA Finals in 1999? Because it was New York Knicks, as we're going 2 free throws. So think about that, Epic C. And don't look. Oh, so you think he did?
Yes.
He actually didn't. He actually got injured after game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, so he was out for the rest of the playoffs. So
I thought he was still on New York. So I thought he played most of his career for New York.
But he was on the bench because of a bad quad injury.
Okay.
TJ McConnell, he gets his seat, and if he was to get a standing ovation, he deserves it.
Yeah, because I thought he only played for like 2 or 3 teams his whole career, Patrick Ewing.
He played for the New York Knicks, Orlando Magic. That was his final team. And guess what was the other team?
Yeah, Seattle Supersonics. That was his actual final, wasn't it?
And on the next commercial break, I want you to tell us your Patrick Ewing story. But when we get to commercial break, of course.
Okay.
Now here's Jalen Williams taking up to the top. Also, 2000 NBA Finals an alley-oop. Oh, missed by Holmgren. He missed the alley-oop. And now we're taking it up to the top. Here's number 2. And now here's a 3-point attempt. And he makes it to make it a 12-point lead. That is Naismith with the 3-pointer. Also, Dr. James Naismith did invent basketball. He was part of the YMCA, believe it or not. It's Nesmith, so it's not the same name, but very close. 2000 was when Reggie Miller played against Shaq and Kobe, but they were just too much. 2001 was Allen Iverson. PCA should win Pete Crow Armstrong. No, Christian, we already lost the series. I already accepted defeat. I just want to say congratulations on your sweep. And now here is the 3 free throws for SGA. He makes one. And SGA really is a pure scorer. I got to give him that kind of credit.
Well, right now, the league has kind of an identity thing where people say there needs to be a player that people either really like or really dislike to keep the league interesting and driving. And who is that player in the league that's like the main staple of the NBA right now? There is not that next player. Who's going to take LeBron's spot?
Yeah, there's not really someone that they're trying to hype up Wembanyama, but I haven't seen it yet. And now here's a 3-pointer by Siakam, and way off. And again, why are you just throwing up all these 3-pointers?
Because for a second there, I thought it was gonna be that one guy, the Luque.
Here's Dort for 3, and no foul has been called, but rebound. Oklahoma still has the ball, and a steal by Indiana. And now here's Halliburton, and here's an advantage. Here's a 3-point shooting, and he makes it. And now it's a 13-point lead. 2002 was when Shaq and Kobe got their 3-peat and swept. They swept them. Oh, and Epic C Films.
Yeah.
It is time to tell me your Patrick Ewing story. And also, do I have full permission to put this as like a YouTube short of you meeting Patrick Ewing? I probably won't do it now. I'll probably do it whenever New York is trending or something.
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can use it.
All right, take it away on what happened between you and Patrick Ewing when he played for the Seattle Supersonics.
So I was with my uncle, and we happened to go to the back area behind where kind of like before the locker room area, and we were there, and we were trying to get all the basketball players' autographs. And one of the players we were looking for, because we knew they were on the team, was Patrick Ewing, and we saw Patrick Ewing from a distance, and there was a ramp. There was like a ramp here, and what was happening was kind of like a hill. And what we saw him kind of like walking towards a vehicle, and then got into like a vehicle, and was trying to take off. And so we were able to time him right to actually get to the fact that actually like able to get his autograph.
Okay, but what really like were you able like did you chase him like with your arms waving and all of
Yes,
that? Like
we were walking and trying to like catch up to him because we saw him from the distance and trying to make up the steps to get to to Patrick Ewing, but never made it.
what was his expression?
Well, we kind of didn't really. We kind of saw him from a distance. We didn't really see his full expression and everything like that. But kind of because I don't know if he really even noticed us. You know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that was very nice of Patrick Ewing to give you an autograph. Do you still have it?
I don't even think I have the Patrick Ewing.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I don't think I got it. I think the one I got was Gary Payton that day. That was really hard to get Gary Payton's.
I have an autograph. This is an autograph hat of Sean Kemp.
Okay, so I got Gary's and stuff, and then I still have a few like famous bobbleheads. I think I have like a Ray Allen bobblehead.
I have
a Gary Payton one.
I have some Gary Payton action figures.
Okay.
And 2003 NBA Finals, the Spurs won by 11. That was their championship.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I got to make this reply. And you spoke too soon of my spoke too soon.
Okay. So so the Pacers right now are 8 of 22 from 3-point land. You know what that equates to? 36.4%.
They're still shooting too many 3-pointers, in my opinion.
But look at this. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 1 of 9, 11.11% 3-point shooting. So they're actually doing a lot better than the other team, percentage-wise.
Hey, Josh, you forgot Game 4. Oh, this is 2004, buddy. But yeah, the Detroit Pistons completely steamrolled through the Lakers when they had Gary Payton and Karl Malone. So that was 2004. Let me fix that. I can't fix it.
No, but look at this one. Look at this. You want to know one of the differences of the game? Oklahoma City has no steals. The Pacers have 6 steals right now. 6 steals the Pacers have.
Yes, Pacers have been playing well defensively, at least.
Yeah. And then I'm looking at some total turnovers. Oklahoma City has 10 turnovers. Pacers have 2. There's the difference in the game.
Hey, is this a good post? I made this on Facebook. In about 3 hours, Seattle Supersonics fans will break the internet.
I don't know if they'll break the internet. I think they'll be really upset potentially if they actually. If
it was a Kevin Durant Oklahoma City Thunder, would Seattle have broken the internet? Would the servers had crashed? Because Kobe on his last game, he caused Twitter to crash.
Oh, he did. Well, Kobe, it was such a nostalgic thing. I think I don't think there's enough people that are Sonics fans or still are Sonics fans that it would break the internet. You know what I mean? There's not enough people.
Let me go by generations on who will care. The baby boomer generation, will they care? Yes, they will. They will care. Gen X.
Yes.
Millennials.
Yes.
Gen Z.
Early Gen Z.
Yes,
early Gen
maybe.
Z, not late Gen Z. It was where it stopped.
And then Gen Alpha, they're like,
no, they're not gonna care at all.
They're not. My cousin's a Gen Alpha, and he has Oklahoma gear everywhere.
Yeah. So yes, that's the difference right there.
Now here's Nesmith for 3, and he misses. And again, the 3-pointers have got to stop.
I think the cutoff is about 2000 because if you're 2000, maybe.
Now here's Jalen Williams at the step back 3 and another 3-pointer, and Indiana gets the ball back.
So I think if you're born after 2000, I think that, or 99, if you're born like after 1999, I think that's a cutoff pretty much for if you're going to be a Sonics fan or not. Think about it. That would give you like 8 or 9 years, 2000, 1999.
2005 was when Detroit and San Antonio squared off. Detroit actually forced a Game 7, despite Robert Horry beating him up in Game 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Robert Horry is considered considered one of the worst players that ever won like more than 5 championships?
He's one of the most clutch.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like,
Robert Ory had some of the biggest shots in his career.
but he has very few points, very few rebounds. His stat lines are not great overall.
But when it matters most, he'll make that big three-pointer. That's Robert Ory for you.
Because I did an analysis one time, and Robert Ory, he only won 7 championships. Overall, his stat lines aren't great.
I know. They're not. Now here's
So-
Jalen Williams going to the rim. Oh, he makes it. And that will cut it to within a 14-point lead.
Yeah.
And if the Sonics ever come back to Seattle, the second that happens, we're going on a show together.
Yep.
That's but at the same time, can we trust Adam Silver to get it done? I can't. And now here's he gets it to the rim, and now Indiana extends that lead, and they're looking really good. But again, we have a whole other half to think about.
Yeah.
Now here is SGA, and he makes it. I think I'll drink I'll drink a soda only if Oklahoma wins, because I will be like drinking my sorrows away. But will you feel the pain, or will it be not as significant? But will you still feel? Now here's a 3-point shot. Oh, did he just make Therese Halliburton just made a 3-pointer? And now here's rejected by Miles Turner as Chet Holmgren was going for that 3-pointer, and now it's back to Therese Halliburton, and they're just making 3-point barrages.
I think the more the more years the more gap years between the Sonics leaving and Oklahoma City winning a championship, the less people care. You're right about that. More gap,
because the baby boom generation is getting old. Gen X has pretty much checked out of the NBA. Millennials are still hanging on, sort of. Gen Z, like we said, it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less. And now here's Miles Turner going all the way to the rim, and he is fouled. Or no, it's going out of bounds.
Because if you
think, of course, Gen Alpha is not going to care.
Because if you think Gen Z starts at 95, then you're having maybe at most 5 years, maybe 4 years of Gen Z. But there's a new term called Zillennial. Have you heard of that one?
Zillennial, yep.
Which is anybody born in the 90s, basically.
And a nice shot by Pascal Siakam, and the lead just explodes to 19. It looks like Indiana has a good chance, but they still gotta keep moving forward about it. And now Jalen Williams make a nice shot, and I think that is and one, and I think it's going to the rim, going to the line. And everyone that is on this show, I appreciate you being there, especially Josh, Molly Anderson. If you would like to help this channel, donate to this channel. Goal is going to be $50.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing, like, because they talk about it in like other industries, is how much of a gap year can you have? How much of a gap can you have and still be something very successful? Look, it was like 34 years later for Cobra Kai, and that still was very successful between Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
There was 2 movies in between that time.
It was.
Still kept
now
it
here's
kind of
Therese
alive.
Halliburton, and he is being double teamed. Gives off to Nesmith, to Halliburton, and he's going all the way to the rim, and he makes it. Now, 2006, Dallas had a 2-0 series lead, and they lost all 4 in a row. 2007, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, LeBron James took that team all the way to the NBA Finals literally by himself. And here's Jalen Williams, kicks it off to Chet Holmgren, and he's trying to post up, and he doesn't get it. He's heavily defended by Miles Turner, and Indiana with the ball. They're on the transition. And now here is Halliburton. He fakes it. Do not shoot that 3-pointer, especially on Caruso. Goes for the fadeaway. He's fouled. And no foul. Talk about a blown call. Now here's Jalen Williams. And that's just going to be a steal by Halliburton and a 2-on-1. And he makes the dunk. I think that was Pascal Siakam with a big jam. An assist by Therese Halliburton off the turnover to make it a 20-point lead. And what a statement dunk that was by Pascal Siakam, the guy that you think is the major factor of this team.
Yeah. Well, Halliburton, ever since I said that statement about Halliburton not being as good as the other 2 players on his team, he stepped up. Since he came back in the game, he's starting to step up. See?
And now we've got 17 seconds left. Here's Holmgren going for the fadeaway shot, and he misses. And now Indiana has a chance to really put this game more out of reach. 7 seconds left.
He's getting
6,
crazy.
5, 4, 3, 2. Here's a shot by Siakam, and makes it at the buzzer. It's a buzzer beater by Pascal Siakam. We are going into the half with a 22-point lead on Oklahoma City. How about that?
I'm telling you. Told you.
Oh, and by the way, I got to do the ending. Here it is, just for you all. Now, I got to go to the bathroom. Please, everyone, please enjoy a commercial. Senor, tell me how you make a thin crust Sahara pizza.
With your hands. Cornmeal.
Hello, baseball fans. I'm excited to announce that we are still offering 50% off pizza and 25% off bowling Monday and Tuesdays. Head on over to Snoqualmie Sahara Pizza. This deal will go through May.
And that's how you make a Sahara pizza. Beautiful thin crust.
And I am back, and welcome to the halftime show. And
I have a question for you.
What is it?
Is that May deal through what year? The
What?
pizza deal. In the video, it said, you have a deal on pizza through May.
50%, and it's actually throughout the summer.
Okay. Because I was like, is that through 2026 or 2025?
Anyways, I'm going to play. For the halftime show, I'm gonna show you NBA Street.
Okay.
NBA Street Volume 2. Actually, would you play that game with me someday?
I was always a V3 person. That's
I'm
when
a
I
V2.
played.
I'm a V2 guy.
Oh, I was a V3 with Shaquille O'Neal making one-handed three-pointers. You'd like do
Oh
a
my
hook shot.
god. Of
Have you
course
seen
you
those?
would. All right, let's play NBA Street Volume 2. And I got my controller right over here. And for the honor of the Seattle Supersonics, I'll play with the Seattle Supersonics. I'll go to play it, pickup game, got game. It's going to take me some time to adjust. Going to obviously play with the Seattle Supersonics. And I will play I'll play against the Indiana Pacers.
Because we're not Oklahoma City.
Pretty much. I will pick Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis. Hey, where's Jerome James? Where's my buddy Jerome James?
He was
No,
out.
just do Eldon Campbell.
I would have done the other guy.
Green Lake, Seattle. And we all know that court very well.
Yes. But it has a Storm logo now. Not a
Sounds
Sonic
about
logo.
right.
That's pretty much the main difference.
Here we go. Ready for me to kick some booty? Or you think I'm just wishful thinking?
It just depends.
Seattle, Washington. Can you
So they're missing the logo in the middle. That's the only thing. But it looks like Green Lake. I can see someone who's been there.
Yeah, how about that? Oops, I went for a long 3-point shot.
You almost made it. All right. How does this compare to Jam, NBA Jam?
Well, basically, this is well, it's not really NBA Jam if you think about it.
Or what about Ballers? Do you ever play Ballers?
I did for like a split second, just wasn't my type of game. Totally not goaltending.
Did you ever play the football street one?
Yeah, I heard that one. I for like a split second, but I heard it was like a really hard game. What kind of dunk is that? Ray Allen.
NBA Street. Let's see. NBA Street series. So there's NBA Street, NBA Street Volume 2, NBA Street Volume 3, NBA Street Showdown, NBA Street Homecoming, NBA Street Online, 2008 South Korean online game, and NBA Street Online 2 was a South Korean game. So it really hasn't been a main staple game since Home Court. And Home Court was so long ago. NBA Street Home Court. That was 2007. Are they ever going to make another NBA Street?
No. Oh, look at that.
Okay, a new NBA Street style game is called The Run. The Run got next. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Some other studio made one, but it's like NBA Street.
I made a 3-pointer.
Oh, but it looks like it's not like mainstream players. They don't have the rights to all the players. That's the only thing they don't have to the game. Well, the problem is if EA doesn't have the rights to the NBA players, then they can't really do nothing.
They do have the rights.
No, in this game they have the rights to them, but like remember, like for a while they weren't making NBA Live games because remember there's only 2K that were making games. Remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
Not really.
Yeah,
what game?
So there was NBA Live, which was like it was like EA NBA Live or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they had NBA 2K, which were competing games against each other. They were basically similar games. You had two NBA options, and then eventually 2K took over.
Well, 2K took over because EA can't even make a game anymore.
Because I think they like something. I think it was something to do with the rights or something.
No, that was NFL.
Wow.
The NFL EA bought out the NFL licensing rights.
Oh, it said EA lost the rights to develop NBA Live games after NBA Live 19. So NBA Live 19, they lost the rights. The series has been on indefinite hiatus since then, with no further installments released or announced. EA was cited to has ceased development changes. That's why I don't think they make these games anymore. These street games, they don't make it because they don't have the NBA rights.
Had no idea.
Yeah. So like 2K has the rights to the NBA, but EA has the rights to football. Interesting.
I guess so.
I think MLB is only by like MLB only has that one game like the bigs, and I think it's by like there's like the show or something like that. That's like by PlayStation or something.
Yeah. Oh, was it NBA?
No, MLB.
MLB,
the
yeah.
show.
They pretty much owned everything.
Oh, the MLB video game rights are not exclusive, allowing multiple publishers to create games with MLB license. They're not exclusive.
Oh wow, did not know that.
Yeah. So they're one that's not exclusive, but other ones are. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, would you make more money being exclusive, or would you make more money just having multiple people have the rights to it? You know what I mean?
Exclusive makes more money.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I don't know. Like I feel like for like the NBA or NFL, would it be better if multiple people had the rights to them versus only like one company having the rights to them and only selling that one game? I think for like EA having them like the NFL rights, I think it's great for them. But is it great for the NFL because could they make more money having two different companies have rights to it?
I'm gonna hold the scoring because I gotta show you something really cool.
Okay, hold the scoring.
Yeah, I'm not gonna score yet. Oh, I actually lose. Never mind. I'm just gonna win this game. I win.
Yeah. So the Electronic Arts holds the current video game rights for the NHL.
That sounds about right. Yep.
So they have NHL and they have football, and I think they were doing FIFA for a while.
All right. Do you want me to play a different basketball game or play the same game with different teams?
What other games do you have?
Let me see what I got. All right. What do I have?
Do you have 2K?
I do not.
Do you have Jam?
Jam, I'm horrible.
Do you have Baller? Or Ballers or whatever?
I guess another half idea is I got the Sonics video.
Yeah, you can share that.
1996, the Seattle Supersonics made it to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1979, after grinding through a 7-game series against the Utah Jazz in the Western Conference Finals and getting over the past 2 seasons of first-round exits. However, they would fall to the Chicago Bulls in 6 games of the 1996 NBA Finals. There was hope going forward for this team, but however, the Sonics would lose in the second rounds of the playoffs in the next 2 seasons. During those 2 years, the Sonics traded away longtime star Shawn Kemp, and head coach George Karl would not return after the 1998 season. Later in the 2000-2001 season, Starbucks coffee king Howard Schultz purchased the Sonics for $200 million off of Barry Ackerley, and that's where things would really go downhill for the Sonics. And why is that? You will find out after a word from our sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code ROOFTOPSPORTS to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. After the 2001-2002 season, Gary Payton shocked Sonics owner Howard Schultz by not showing up to the first day of training camp, and this escalated their beef they had since the start of the ownership. Gary Payton, since the start of the new ownership, did not have any respect for Howard Schultz, as he did not like the way Howard ran the team.
He tried to run a basketball team like his coffee business. I had been loyal to that team for 10, 11, 12 years, and so it really hurt me. So I felt like now it's a time where it needed to be a change.
By the All-Star break, the Sonics struggled to a 21-27 record despite an 8-2 start, and eventually, the Sonics traded Gary Payton to the Milwaukee Bucks, along with slam dunk specialist Desmond Mason, for a package that included Ray Allen, Ronald Flip Murray, Kevin Ollie, and a first-round pick that would turn into Luke Ridnour. The Sonics would improve to an 18-12 record in the second half, finishing at 40-42, but would miss the playoffs.
The arrival of Ray Allen.
The 2003-2004 season would be another lost season for the Sonics, as injuries to Ray Allen and Brent Barry hurt the team, along with terrible play from centers of Jerome James, Vitaly Potapenko, and Calvin Booth. The only real bright spot from that season was the emergence of Ronald Flip Murray, who played very well off the bench, and made an appearance in the All-Star weekend at the rookie-sophomore game, where he performed well. Unfortunately, later on with the Sonics, he saw limited time due to injuries. Going into the 2004 draft, the Sonics were in clear need of upgrades, and they had the opportunity to get the likes of Al Jefferson, Josh Smith, J.R. Smith, Jameer Nelson, Delonte West, and Tony Allen, but the Sonics would draft Robert Swift instead, who was known to have the upside at the time after graduating high school. But unfortunately, Swift's career would be a massive disappointment. In the offseason, the Sonics would lose longtime key role player Brent Barry to the Spurs in free agency, but the Sonics did acquire big man bruiser Danny Fortson by trading away Calvin Booth, who was a disappointment for the Sonics. At the start of the 2004-2005 season, the Sonics got off to a very hot start, going 17-3. This team consisted of Ray Allen and Rashard Lewis as a dynamic duo, as they both represented in the 2005 All-Star Game. They were the Splash Brothers before Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Ray Allen was the leading scorer of the team with 23.9 points per game, along with 209 three-pointers, which was top 5 in the league. Rashard Lewis had a career year at the time, scoring over 20 points per game for the first time in his career.
Well, we are heading back to some NBA basketball. As we are at the second half, and do you have the keys to the second half, Epic C Films?
So for both teams. So for Indiana, the keys to the game is maintaining or their lead, and one way to do that is to pressure them and keep up the keep them having turnovers and getting a lot of steals. That'll be very good keys to the game.
Basically the same thing, I guess, right?
Yes, but what the Oklahoma City Thunder need to do if they want to get back in this game is limit turnovers and steals. Limit those and get second chance baskets.
Now here's Pascal Siakam being guarded by Caruso. Crazy to think he guards big man. Here's a fadeaway shot, and the clock goes down, and he doesn't make it. And now it's 11 minutes left in the quarter as it just started. There's SGA going to the very top. And here's Luke Dort over to Caruso. And he kicks it out. Nearly got it turned over. And Dort going for the three. And he misses. And Thunder have been struggling from the three-point line. And here's Pascal Siakam over to number 2. And then that is Miles Turner. He's going to give him the screen. Nice screen by Turner as he goes all the way to the rim, and he gets hammered. That's going to be out of bounds. And going back to NBA Finals, man, what happened? Game 6, man, I'm really behind with these NBA Finals. And we've got Pascal Siakam with the ball. Got Miles Turner on top. You don't want him shooting a three-pointer. What? He's going for that. Wait, what? That was a shot clock. No, he was just throwing up a three-pointer, which they keep doing. Now here's Jalen Williams. He might have an easy path. Going back up to Dort, and Dort for 3. And he misses, and he thought he was fouled. And now Indiana, this has been pretty sloppy. No one has scored, but here is Miles Turner. Why give Miles Turner the ball?
Okay, the Washington Bullets, now the Wizards, team from so it's from 77 to
And a
78.
steal by
team.
Indiana. And now here is Halliburton for 3, and he misses.
So the worst regular season record to ever win an NBA championship was 44 and 38.
Who won it? And now
It was
here
the Washington Bullets.
What year? Oh, what year?
77 to 78.
Oh wow! And the Sonics were like 47 and 35.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a foul.
Yeah.
So 2008, Game 6, Boston won 131 to 92. That was Boston's championship with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett. 2009, there was no Game 6. Lakers had already won the NBA Finals. Game 6, the Lakers came back and won when they were down 3-2 in the series, and then they won the NBA Finals in Game 7. And now here's blocked by Chet Holmgren. And now it's going up to Chet Holmgren. He's being defended by Miles Turner. And here's Caruso, and he loses the ball. And it goes back to Oklahoma. Game 6, there was Dallas won with Dirk Nowitzki. 2012, there was the Oklahoma City Thunder just literally choked the entire series with Miami winning that.
So the Chicago Bulls have the best record by an NBA team, but more than it says with a record of 72 and 10 in 1995 and 1996. They're the best record
Here's
ever.
A three-pointer by Holmgren, and they're missing. And this has basically just been a three-point shooting contest. And now here is Halliburton. And now it's a three-point in the corner and misses. Maybe just don't shoot the three-pointer. Just slow it down. But now we have 14 seconds left on the clock. And now here's Halliburton. He's going to have to throw up something. And he loses it. And now Oklahoma has the ball. But is that out of bounds? And I think that is Indiana ball. 2014, there was no Game 6 because San Antonio had won. They destroyed Miami. And now here is the ball back. And with 4 seconds left, and now Halliburton. Now here's a three-point attempt. Nope. And they get the ball back with 14 seconds left. Now here's Nesmith. He's going to the rim, defended by Holmgren, and he loses the ball. And now Oklahoma has the ball. And must I remind you, nobody has scored in this quarter yet.
Well, that's a good sign. You know why?
Why?
Because Indiana keeps their lead.
See what you did there. 2015, there was a Game 6 where Golden State won. 2016, Cleveland Cavaliers won, and Stephen Curry was actually ejected from that game. That forced the Game 7. Yeah, he got ejected, yeah. 2017, no Game 7 because Cleveland got destroyed, and then Cleveland got swept in the NBA Finals in 2018. That was LeBron's final game as a Cavalier. 2019, there was a Game 6 where Klay Thompson tore his ACL and Toronto won. 2020 was the Mickey Mouse champion, the bubble, and Lakers won in 6 with LeBron James. 2021, Milwaukee won in 6 games after they were down 2-0 against Phoenix. And then 2022, Golden State won their NBA championship without Kevin Durant against Boston. 23, no Game 6 as Nuggets destroyed Miami. And now here's Halliburton. He kicks it out, and Halliburton again, he's got it, and he makes it. And they finally get a basket in there. 24 was Boston winning in 6 games. Oh, no, there's no 6 games. It was 1-5. And that was the interesting game. That was Kyrie Irving versus, well, his former team. But I will be right back. I have a burger to eat waiting for me. So be right back. Again. Let's do this one.
We're making half pineapple, half tiki with barbecue chicken. You put the garlic. Put the pineapple on the whole pizza. Remember, they want half pineapple, and the one is going to be tiki. Tiki tiki with pineapple, garlic, feta cheese, artichoke hearts, and the chicken. And we're gonna spread some barbecue on top.
And that's ready.
Put it on the oven. Let it run.
Hello, baseball fans. I'm excited to announce that we are still offering 50% off pizza and 25% off bowling Monday and Tuesdays. Head on over to Snoqualmie Sahara Pizza. This deal will go through May.
Hello, everybody. Hello. So, just some interesting things going on in the game. As we talked about before, we were talking about some of the stats and some of the interesting things. Is that right now you have the Oklahoma City Thunder? They're 17 of 44 from their field goals, so they're at 38.6%. But then you have Indiana Pacers, which 24 of 61. They've shot the ball a lot more. So you think about this. That's 39.3%. So they only have like maybe about less than 1% more field goal making right now. But the thing about it is that they've actually they shot the ball a lot more. They actually have made, if you look at this, literally 7 more shots. 7 more shots. So on average, 7 more shots would be 7 times 4 would be 14 points right there alone. So just interesting things to note there is the differential in amount of shots taken and made is a huge difference. Because not like they're shooting at a higher percentage, like percentage wise. No.
Oh man!
So I thought that was kind of an interesting stat there.
Josh is doing all the old stuff.
Yeah, I was just telling them about the field goal percentage and the versus field goals attempted stuff. The Indiana Pacers have shot a lot more field goals. Total, they made 7 more field goals total, but their percentage is about the same. They're both about 39% from field goal. So they're not shooting great here. These teams aren't.
Nope, nobody is.
No. Yeah. It's just one team's having to get a lot more shots off.
Purple Flurp soda.
Yeah. But it's always interesting now because some people are saying that some games, they say some teams feel like they're taking the day off. Do you feel like the Oklahoma City feels like they're taking the day off? Do you feel like they're taking the day off today, Oklahoma City? Do you think they're not trying hard?
You would think. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, when it's game 7, if it is game 7, Oklahoma's going to win anyway because they have home court advantage. That's what guarantees.
Not necessarily.
And a huge jam by Indiana.
I read a stat that said that since COVID started, it was like more game 7s have been won by actually road teams. But before that, it was the other way around. Like you're right about the whole home court advantage thing. Yes. So I don't know what changed there.
I wouldn't know either, but this burger's amazing. Now here's SGA going for the fadeaway, and he misses. Out of all 4 major sports teams in both men and women as Indiana scores, which team was the last one to 4-peat? It was the Houston Comet, led by Tina Thompson.
Yeah, it says in NBA Finals Game 7s, home teams have a significant advantage, winning 15 out of 19 games, a 78.9% win percentage.
So basically, Oklahoma wins the NBA Finals.
Not necessarily. There's still a 21% chance, basically.
That's nothing.
But it's still a chance. It's not like it's,
Let's just give Oklahoma the championship right now. Make Sonics fans cry.
No. You got to play the games because that 21% chance is possible. It's basically about 1 out of every 5 that go to Game 7s.
Andrew Bogut was injured in Game 7 between the Cavaliers and the Warriors. It was pure luck.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically it's 15-4. Yeah. So I get the stats. The last time a road team won a NBA Finals Game 7 was in what year do you think it was? Last time a road team won the NBA Game 7.
78 Bullets.
Yep, 78. Washington Bullets defeated the Seattle Supersonics.
So maybe if we're doing shared history, maybe there is fate. If we're doing that shared history maneuver.
maybe there's a curse they won't win Game 7.
But I tried that with the Denver Nuggets and the Seattle Supersonics and the Thunder. It did not work.
But like I said, it's interesting.
So maybe there is some little bit of omens where. Oh, also, did you know that the Seattle Supersonics in 1978 NBA Finals, they had a 3-2 series lead and lost 2 in a row to Washington Bullets?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So maybe, just maybe, there is a little bit of fate. Now, here's my other question. Does Oklahoma winning the NBA Finals help the Seattle Supersonics return? Because maybe all these anger from Seattle fans going, hey, that was our team. Do you think all those tweets will do something, or do you think that's just wishful thinking?
It's not going to help because, being bitter isn't the best way to look. It's making you look pettier the more bitter you become.
Here's the thing. My only thing was, who's Trolltopia? Who is this guy? Hi, how's it going? You're sure saying a lot of things. How's my day? Well, covering the NBA Finals game with my friend Epic Sea Films.
Mm-hmm. This is a random weird stuff. It says the Boston Celtics are 22-6 in Game 7s all time.
My day's been going great.
Yeah, that's such a random stat about the Boston Celtics for all random ones.
Yeah. Josh, out of Robert Ory's 7 rings, which one is he most proud of? Does he actually have one, Josh? Does he actually have a definite answer? And I can actually name all of them. I would say 2005 is the one he was most proud.
Okay, it says blah blah blah. It says, however, the Indiana Pacers record in Game 7s is 3-6, with most of those games occurring on the road. They are 2-6 in
Shea Gilgeous Alexander.
7s.
Alley-oop to Hartenstein. And that will cut the lead down to 26.
Wow. So that's crazy. So Indiana Pacers are only 3-6 all time in Game 7s.
Now here is Pascal Siakam. Now here's Halliburton going for 3 and misses it. Maybe he should slow down on that 3-pointer. And that was nearly a travel. He got away with it. Halliburton's trying to dribble his way out of it. And that's a steal. Now here's a 2-on-1 situation, almost a 3-on-1. Here's Hartenstein, and he loses the ball, but that's going to be out of bounds. Possession, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Trolltopia says he thinks that Cooper Flagg will be a bust. Cooper Flagg, let me know why. What's your reasoning? Oh, okay, I get it. Because the Rockets were the 6th seed. They are still the lowest seeded NBA team to win the NBA Finals. The Houston Rockets with a 47-35 record. They went in as a 6th seed. They defeated Utah in the first round, defeated Phoenix in 7 games. And then they defeated the MVP, David Robinson, the San Antonio Spurs. And then the NBA, and then they swept the Orlando Magic.
Well, a lot of times they say in sports, it's situation. It's do you have the right coach, or do you have the right schemes, or do you have the right players around you and stuff like that? Because it's the package that you get handed. Because if the wrong player ends up in the wrong spot, in the wrong coach or the wrong players around them, they are not going to have a good career. You could be like considered one of the greatest players of all time, then go to the pros, get in the wrong situation, you're a bust. Like they used to say that about a lot of players, and they're saying, like, they said that about Sam Darnold and a whole bunch of other players in other sports. They said that about so many players in history where they were just bust being such a high draft pick, and it just didn't work out for them. And you see it people used to say that. Some people were saying that about Baker Mayfield.
He's a 3-point attempt, and he makes it, and it's going to be a near 30-point game. Mm-hmm. And just crazy to think. Now, if Oklahoma doesn't come back, just remember what I said a couple hours ago. I said in 3 hours that – what did I say again?
You said the internet would break.
Seattle fans would break the internet. And
yes.
It's okay. I will post it again. I'll just say Oklahoma just wants to win at their home court because they know they'll win. This is their training. They're just practicing. Hmm. It'll just be up to the inevitable.
Yeah. But what's crazy, if they win this, if Indiana wins this game by more than 30 points, it's like what you can see is maybe Indiana played harder, or did Oklahoma City not play hard enough? Because they said that some of the players that came out and said that, oh yeah, the other team has played harder than us. That's what they said in some of the after press conferences they had. I'm like, really? If you really want to win the championship at that Valley, you put all your effort in. You would try your hardest,
And we've got Hartenstein making his free throws. Mm-hmm. And here is Oben, and he goes to the rim, and he was bottled up and looks like he was fouled. Mm-hmm. So what'd you think of my NBA Street?
Good.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Just the idea that this thing is going to go to Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just telling you, Oklahoma is just warming up for Game 7 so they can have their celebration at home. That's what it's about. Don't you think?
No, they just didn't play good tonight. They just didn't come to play. So let's see. Let's look at all these players and let's reverse this.
It's okay. Game 7, as long as you're at home, you're going to win anyway. And it's a free throw made by SGA.
Let's see any of these players. Let's see any ones that weren't good. I'm trying to see if there's any duds. I don't know. Would you say they're dud? Let's see. DeAndre Ayton, he was the #1 draft pick, and that was 2018. Were they a dud? Markel
Fultz.
Yeah, that was 2017, and they were #1 draft pick. Were they a dud? Would you say they were? Because look at this. That's 2017, and Markel still plays. They play for the Sacramento Kings, but you don't hear much about them at all.
Markel Fultz is on the Sacramento Kings now?
Yeah. He wasn't the Orlando Magic.
That guy had talent. He had talent.
They're still in the league, so they're not.
Didn't we watch a UW game with Markel Fultz on there before? Or that was
maybe. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my most favorite UW team I watched was DeJounte Murray, Andrew Andrews, and Marquise Chris.
Hmm.
That was a fun team.
Well, here's #1 draft pick, John Wall. He played for 13 years. He's out of the league. He left in 2023. Was that a dud, John Wall?
No, he was a good player.
But he had a 13-year career, never won a championship, made 5 All-Star appearances.
His knees blew out.
And
now it looks like we got a technical foul. And now Oklahoma is actually on the verge of at least cutting it to a 22-point lead. And he does.
Oh, here's one. Anthony Bennett.
Bust! Bust! Hey, let's go to every draft pick since 1990. Every #1 pick, and you have to say how I felt about them.
Okay, so
Actually, I have a better. No. I have a better idea. Every Sonics draft pick from 1990.
Oh no, because I'm looking at number ones right now, and I'm trying to see.
No,
so I was just
actually,
going back in history.
let's do 1998 because that was the post George Karl era. Let's do post 98. That's when it matters more.
Okay, yeah, like I'm just looking at some other parts. You know who I think it was a bust? Derrick Rose.
You think he was a bust? No, he was MVP though.
Yeah, but then like he kept getting injured. Like,
he's not a bust.
Injured. Is that? Would you say that's a bust or not? Greg Odom for sure. We say Greg Odom was a bust or not?
He was.
But the thing about it is Greg Odom. Let's see. Yeah. He played for like 9 years. Well, no, he played for 7 years in the NBA. He only played for 2 teams. So he had a short-lived career. Let's see any other ones.
Oh.
Okay, what was Kwame Brown a bust?
Yes, he absolutely was. But hey, credit to Kwame Brown, considering he was a bust, had a horrible reputation. He still hung around in the NBA for over a decade. You got to give him
12 years.
For that.
12 years.
I still respect that. Like, you were a bust. You were humiliated by Michael Jordan. You were humiliated by Kobe Bryant. You were basically the anti-Kwame Brown trade for Pau Gasol. And he still had a 12-year career. The guy still had a career. I give him credit for that.
Who's this guy? Michael
Olowokandi. No,
Yeah.
do Sonics picks. Go to every Sonics pick. And now here's
Okay.
Oklahoma just threw up a 3-pointer. They just cut it to 19. Maybe the comeback is on its way. See, Oklahoma is just heating it up.
Yeah.
Remember, no lead is safe, and Oklahoma has actually had an 8-point run, and now, yeah, he can't be shooting up 3-pointers on this one. Here's TJ McConnell, gives it back to the, and he looks like he was fouled. And does he go to the line? That's the question. No, go to every Sonics draft pick starting in 1998.
Yep, I'm looking at this. Let's go. Started in 1998, you said?
Yeah.
So 1998.
and he makes
let's
it.
see. So 1998, we had Vladimir Stepani.
Oh, I actually met Vladimir Stefani. He's a big dude, but no, he turned out to be nothing. Was he a first-round pick?
First round, 27th pick.
Oh my God. And who could if he had drafted?
Well, I don't know who we could have drafted, but who we got in the second round? We got a 32nd pick. Guess who we got a 32nd pick?
Rashard Lewis.
Rashard Lewis.
That
and then we got another pick at 33, which was Jelani McCoy.
Jelani McCoy. He was really, man, Wally Walker and his obsession of drafting centers. And looks like we got an and one. SGA. Looks like Oklahoma's coming back.
And well, look at this one. Next year, we only had one pick. We had a first round 13th pick in 1999.
Corey Maggette. And then that
Corey
got
Maggette.
traded. Then that pick got traded away for Horace Grant.
Yeah. And then we in 2000 we had our first pick was 17th pick, and we had Desmond Mason.
That was a great pick.
I like Desmond Mason. So.
That was a great pick.
Yeah.
Now here is McConnell. And here's is a 3-pointer, and he makes it. And now it's back to a 21-point game.
Mm-hmm. And then you had a second-round pick. You had a 42nd pick, and you had Olumide
Oyedehi. He was drafted one spot over Michael Redd.
And then we had another second-round pick. We had a 47th pick. And we had Josip Sar.
Probably didn't even exist for the Sonics.
Oh, but then next year, 2001, we had a good one. Look at this.
Vladimir Radmanovich.
Yep, 12th pick. Then the second round, 39th pick, we had Earl Watson.
That was a good pick.
Pretty good.
That's a good value pick.
Yeah, and then we had a 41st pick. We had Bobby Simmons. Do you remember them? I don't remember them at all.
Who?
2002, we had Pete Fees.
No.
Second round pick, 48th. So, but then in 2003, would you say this is a good one? Look at this. First round, we had a round 1, 12th pick. We had Nick Collison. Then we had a round 1 pick, 14th, Luke Rittenauer. And then we had a second round pick, 41st. We had Willie Green. Was that a good year?
They traded Willie Green away, and the Sonics could have drafted David West.
Yeah, but hey, you sometimes you do them right. But
Collison was a solid player. Collison was solid.
I like Luke Rittenauer. I was a Luke Rittenauer fan.
He was pretty good.
Yeah.
And now Oklahoma has just turned the ball over again to make it 78-57. And now here is McConnell going for the shot, and he misses, and rebound Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I guess let's do it during commercial break, because let's get the game going. Now here is SGA.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And it's a rebound by Indiana, and Indiana is stalling them.
Mm-hmm.
And now here is a driving, and he's going to go for the free throw. All right, next draft. Let's go.
Okay, 2004, we had first round, 12th pick. We had Robert Swift.
Oh, drafted over Al Jefferson, J.R. Smith, Jameer Nelson, and Delonte West. Think about all those picks that they could have gotten. All those players, one of those players they could have gotten.
Yeah, second round pick, they had a 35th pick. They had Andre Emmett.
Actually, doesn't that look familiar?
Oh, wow. Yep.
The last time Seattle won a championship.
Yeah. And so they had that Andre Emmett, and they had a second round pick, 41st. They had David Young.
Who?
Remember these players?
Who?
2005, they had a first round 25th pick. They had
Johan Petro.
Johan Petro.
Because they were replacing Jerome James. Oh, we got a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the 42nd?
48th was Mikhail
Jelabal. Oh, yeah. My God, not that guy. He was a nothing.
And then they had a second round pick. They had a 55th
Oh, Josh,
pick.
Thanks a lot for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me about this.
Yeah. Then they had Lawrence Roberts.
Who?
Yeah. And then in 2006, they had first round 10th pick. They had Mohamed
Sene. Mohamed Sene, yeah.
And then they had a second round 40th pick. They had Dehan Brown. Dehan Brown.
Who?
Second round pick.
Alex
50.
Caruso.
Yeah.
And he's going for it. And here's Jalen Williams going for a fader. He misses, and now they're just throwing up jump shots. It looks like Oklahoma just wants to go to Game 7 at home.
Yeah. So then they have so at 2006 they had another pick. They had a 53rd pick. It was Yotam Halpin.
No idea.
And then in 2007, which was their last draft,
Kevin Durant.
They had a first round pick, number 2, Kevin Durant. They had a second round pick, 31st, Carl Landry. And then they had
Carl Landry.
Yeah.
And then we had Big Baby Davis, but then they got traded. And we also got Jeff Green as well.
Yeah, Glenn Davis. Yep, that was our last one.
But Big Baby was traded to Boston, which, you know. And then 2007 was Russell Westbrook, and the other guy was Serge Ibaka. And did you know this? That first round pick that got Serge Ibaka, the Phoenix Suns traded away their first round pick and Kurt Thomas to the Seattle Supersonics for cash. Insane.
Here's an interesting one. Yeah, I have some ideas of who the best player of every draft is. Like they're saying 2024 was Stephen Castle, 2023 Amen Thompson. Yeah. You're saying he's better than Victor Wembanyama?
Wembanyama. Now here's a free throw, and here's Caruso with rebound. And the quarter is nearing its end as we got 2 minutes left. Here in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Here is SGA. He is kicking it out. And it looks like here is Dort over to Caruso for 3 and misses again.
They're saying the 2022 draft, they say the best player was Glenn Williams. OKC player.
Let's see.
That's what some people consider. Wow.
They're saying that Victor Wembanyama is too injured prone.
Evan Mobley.
Now here's kicking it out. And now here's kicking it out to Siakam for 3. And he makes it. Siakam has been a major factor.
Oh, here's an interesting argument. 2020. Who do you think considered was the best player for that draft?
LaMelo Ball.
No. 2020.
Anthony Edwards.
And the second one they say is second best was Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a three-pointer by Oklahoma to cut it to within a 24.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got
LaMelo
less
Ball's
than a minute
further
left.
down. He's like 10th on this list.
Now we got 40 seconds left.
He's
Now
ninth.
he's
but
going
yeah.
for, and he's kicking it out as a fakes a three-pointer. And Indiana makes it to make it a 27-point lead. And they're getting close to a 30-point lead.
Yeah, see, SGA was from the 2018 draft, and they consider him the best player of the 2018 draft.
And now the three-pointer, and he gets the rebound. Just to think the Cleveland Cavaliers could have drafted him rather than Colin Sexton, but who would have done it? Did you know he was also originally drafted by the Los Angeles Clippers?
Who, SGA?
SGA. And now here is another three-pointer by Indiana, and he misses. That was an in and out, and rebound Indiana. Here's another three-pointer at the buzzer, and he makes it, but does that count? It does count. A three-pointer at the end of the buzzer once again to make it a 30-point lead. Another quarter-ending buzzer beater. Now they're just reviewing it to see if it left his hands. It did, and that's going to be a three-pointer.
By who?
It was by Shepard, I think.
Shepard, okay.
Yep, it was
Shepard. Do you know what country SGA was born in?
What? Canada?
He's from Canada.
I figured. Oh,
Toronto, Canada.
Time to show this video.
Okay.
Luke Ridnour, an emerging second-year point guard who improved from his rookie season, doubled his numbers and also competed in the All-Star Weekend skills competition. Key role players in Antonio Daniels and Vladimir Radmanovic, who played well off the bench, Reggie Evans, known as the Collector, with his amazing ability to rebound, Danny Fortson with his blue-collar style of play, and even with his constant tendency to foul out, he was still a force for the Sonics. The Sonics eventually won the Northwest Division Championship, ending the season at 52 wins and home court advantage in the first round. The Sonics squared off against the Sacramento Kings in the first round and easily defeated them in 5 games. A few key moments in that series was not only Ray Allen scoring 45 points in Game 4 of the playoffs,
Allen eyes it. Oh, Ray Allen!
but also a surprising play in center Jerome James, whose numbers exceeded his normal regular season numbers. At the end of games, he would wear a garbage bag like a cape, reminiscing his time when the Sacramento Kings cut him after the 1998-1999 season, when he was given a garbage bag. In the second round of the series, the Sonics went against the San Antonio Spurs, where initially, the Spurs won their first 2 games, but the Sonics would win Game 3 at the skin of their teeth and won easily in Game 4. But however, the Sonics did lose Rashard Lewis and Vladimir Radmanovic after their first 4 games of the series, and the shorthanded Sonics would be overmatched in Game 5, behind Manu Ginobili's 39 points. The Sonics did make a fight out of it in Game 6, but would eventually lose with Tim Duncan's go-ahead game winner, and Ray Allen missing the final shot for a chance to force Game 7. This was still one of the incredible runs in their history. After a surprisingly successful season, the Sonics would break apart as key players Antonio Daniels and Jerome James would leave for free agency. At least the Knicks got the worst end of it, as Jerome James barely contributed for the Knicks, along with that awful contract. Longtime coach Nate McMillan left for a big contract with the Portland Trailblazers, and the Sonics were unable to recover from their losses as they missed the playoffs the next season. As if things couldn't get any worse, Sonics owner Howard Schultz attempted to get public financing for a key arena remodel, but the state would heavily decline, even with NBA Commissioner David Stern on his side. Ultimately, Schultz would sell the team to Oklahoma's Clay Bennett. Clay Bennett stated that he would get a stadium in Renton, but that went nowhere. Yeah, let's be honest, he tanked that. In the 2007 draft lottery, the Sonics did land the number 2 pick and drafted Kevin Durant, but the Sonics quickly traded away Ray Allen to the Boston Celtics, and Rashard Lewis signed with the Orlando Magic in free agency. Eventually, on July 2, 2008, the city of Seattle and Clay Bennett reached a settlement to finalize relocations to Oklahoma City. Although it was tragic after what happened after the 2004-2005 season, it was still a memorable season considering the surprising run they had. And this season myself I truly remembered, as this was my first and only playoff experience for the Sonics, as I didn't truly follow the team until the 2003-2004 season. The stuff I will never forget from that season was Jerome James' random performance in the playoffs and watching Ray Allen and Rashard Lewis being the Splash Brothers before it was cool to do that.
And we are back from the break. All right, and Oklahoma just scored to cut it to within a 28-point game. Now here is TJ McConnell, I believe that's who it is. He makes a nice spin move, and he makes the shot. And once again, TJ McConnell has been a major factor.
This is insane. Thinking like one team can win by 30 points.
This really is insane, but don't forget, it's Game 7 going to be in Oklahoma. Here's Siakam for 3. He misses, and if you're not careful, Indiana, you still might want to just slow this thing down. You don't want to just keep throwing up 3-pointers because that's what costs you games. And now here's an open shot, almost, and that's going to be a foul.
So let's see. Let's see all the games here from the finals so far. Let's see. So the first game they won by 1. Pacers won by 1. Second game, it was like 15. They so that was Oklahoma City won by 15. And then game 3, the Pacers won by 9. Game 4, the Thunder won by 7. Game 5, the Thunder won by 11. And now there's a 30-point
throw. And he misses the free throw. It looks like he missed them both. Now it's 92 to 62. And it looks like all their bench players are playing anyway. Most of them, at least, except Siakam. TJ McConnell. Therese Halliburton's not in this game right now. And it looks like we got a foul. So, got 10 minutes left. Do you see any kind of a comeback possibility? The youngest team to reach the NBA Finals is actually the Portland Trailblazers. And guess who was the leader of that Portland Trailblazers team?
To make the NBA Finals?
Who led the Portland Trailblazers? Who was that? Who was on that team?
Bill?
It was Bill Walton.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that injury of Bill Walton, that's what led them to drafting Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. And then 92-62, and they make the free throw.
You can never predict who's going to be a better player at the end of the day. Like, they thought Greg Oden was going to be better than Kevin Durant, and who would have predicted that? You know, at that moment, did you see that Kevin Durant was going to have a better career than Greg Oden? You know, most people.
No one could have predicted that. And now here's a 3-point attempt, and Oklahoma misses again. And Dr. Jack Ramsey actually admitted when he drafted Sam Bowie, he even said in hindsight, he still would have drafted Sam Bowie. He says that he would have just handled the situation better and his injuries better, which Portland did a terrible job handling it. And Siakam misses the shot as we have a 31-point deficit on Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, at the time, you know this new information now, but at that moment, you can't.
3-pointer has been made by Oklahoma to cut it to within 28. And looks like timeout has been called by Indiana.
Yeah. But that you said the thing about Sam Bowie that makes sense because it's like at that moment, with the information he had, he thought Sam Bowie was a better player than Michael Jordan. So
and guess who was the wing player the Blazers already had?
Who?
Take a guess. Clyde Drexler.
Okay.
So he was already a shooting guard for that team. So at that time, they didn't want 2 shooting guards on the same team.
But they could have moved one of them to like small forward.
Could have been a Clyde Drexler, yeah. But they were all about that center. Which The crazier part was Portland actually drafted a center in the second round. His name was Arvydas Sabonis of the Soviet Union. But of course, guess why he had to wait another 10 years to play in the NBA? You were in the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union did not allow their players to go to the NBA.
But you know what's interesting about that is like even if they drafted Michael Jordan, they would have still had the problem with 2 shooting guards.
You think that would have been a problem?
So either way, they would have been in the same boat. So it didn't make any. You see what I mean?
And who knows how they would have handled one of Michael Jordan's injuries in the 1986 season.
Yeah. And so situation matters. You know what I mean?
It does. I guess it does.
It's like they say some players need time to develop. Some players are already ready when they come out into the league, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think one of the weirdest situations is the whole thing with Bronny James?
I think that whole thing's been a mess.
You hear the rumor about he wanted to like leave and go to like become an assistant coach for like a college, you know, at the university. That was like
nothing surprises me anymore.
The things that people say and do nowadays, it's like
it's insanity.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Do you think what do you think is the NBA's biggest failures? One of their biggest failures?
The David Stern vetoing the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers. That was a failure.
Would you say one of their biggest failures? Because I think one of their biggest failures is the whole Vancouver Grizzlies.
That was a failure.
You know? Like, I get why they would try Vancouver because Vancouver was up and coming a big city, you know? Like that. I get that it makes sense.
There was upside.
It
wasn't just the NBA's fault. It was also horrible mismanagement. They had the very incompetent management and ownership. It was just really bad on all ends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's why they're the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, but it's so weird that like Memphis and like New Orleans are considered the West, you know, because there's so many teams on the East, you know, bunched up. Like travel time is so much closer. You ever notice that?
You know what was really sad? In 2011, we got to see Memphis and Oklahoma play each other in the playoffs, and that could have been the Vancouver Grizzlies and the Seattle Supersonics having that Northwest rivalry.
That's crazy. Well, like there's so many what ifs. Like, what if Brandon Roy never had the major injuries and his knees held up?
What if Steve Ballmer stepped in? What if Steve Ballmer or what if Paul Allen bought the team earlier?
Yeah.
What if Microsoft took off before Apple did? Then Paul Allen would have had the money to buy the team from Sam Schulman of the Seattle Supersonics. So a lot of what ifs of like what happens if Apple didn't blow up. But at the same time, if Apple doesn't happen, then possibly Microsoft never happens. I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. But the thing is, we couldn't have predicted the future. Now here's Pascal Siakam going for a shot, and at this point, this is just sluggish basketball, if you ask me. It's a 28-point deficit, 28-point lead, and now they're just faking a shot, and they're going for the basket, and that's going to be a foul. Like, Steve Ballmer, what if he bought the team, or what if he tried a little bit harder? What if he bought the team 2 years earlier? Like, let me look at Steve Ballmer's net worth. What was Steve Ballmer's net worth in 2008? He was worth $15 billion. What was Steve Ballmer's net worth in 2006? He was $13.6 billion. So my question is, why didn't he buy the team in 2006? Unless this whole Oklahoma and Seattle sale, it must have been under the table. It must have happened out of nowhere. And now we've got 93-66 Indiana, and McConnell's going for a shot, and he makes it. And once again, he has been a major factor. And we got 9 minutes left in this game. And a three-point attempt by Oklahoma, and he misses it. In the Epic C films, he just unfortunately disappeared. And that's going to be a turnover. And that's going to probably be an easy dunk. Nope. But it's going to be a nice lay-in. And that's going to be an and one. McConnell has been a major factor, must I say. I already said that. McConnell has scored 12 points on 6 of 9. He's been very efficient. Also with 6 assists. 6 assists. Trying to wonder where Epic Sea Films went. And that's going to be a free throw done. That's a 3-point play complete. I'm going to take off my headset because it's a little bit uncomfortable. As we're at 95 to 68. Now here's Miles Turner. Gets it over to 0-0. And at this point, they're just playing all their bench players. And here's McConnell. No, not McConnell, but it's a nice jump shot by Indiana. And now we are looking at a 29-point lead for Indiana as they are on the verge of forcing a Game 7. And another three-pointer has been made by Oklahoma. As Indiana's on the verge of forcing this to a Game 7, which will be in Oklahoma on Sunday. And I'm going to try to see if I can clear my schedule for that game. And Miles Turner, nice pass. Nope, that's going to be turnover. And looks like they're just trying to do everything they can and just contain the lead, which is why some of their starters are still playing, even though it's a pretty foregone conclusion. And now here is a nice jam by Indiana. Now Oklahoma going to kick it out. Nope, it's going to be a steal by Indiana. And they're just really just playing and the 3-point shot, and he misses. And I think they should just really slow this game down, especially when you're up by a very substantial. There's less than 8 minutes left, so there's really no need to rush the offense anymore. As Oklahoma, they are leading at 3-2. But they're on the verge of being forced a Game 7, which will be in Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is, of course, a very difficult place to play. As they're going for the free throw, and he makes it. And this game is on the verge of pretty much going the way it is. So we're at 7:17 left. And now the free throw again, and he makes it. There's TJ McConnell, who's been a major factor in this game, going for the fadeaway, a jump shot, and rebound, as Oklahoma is slowly starting to chip into the lead. And three-pointer, and misses. And Indiana with the rebound. Now they have advantage 2-on-1, and that's going to be a foul. You could have almost called that a clear path foul, too. And free throw is missed. Gonna call Epic C and see what happened to him. And he makes the free throw again. And now it's gonna be was gonna be a 3-point attempt. And a steal by 0-0. And he gets it over to Miles Turner, and looks like he draws the foul or just goes out of bounds. Looks like we got another player checking in. I was like, where did you go, man?
My internet went out, and I had to reset my internet.
Wasn't that great?
Just my timing. Didn't happen to you one time where you got to reset your internet?
Pretty much. I've done that before.
Yeah. Yeah, but
now I do wonder though. Don't you agree that isn't it kind of questionable how Steve Ballmer tried to kind of save the team in 2008 when he could have just bought the team 2 years earlier when he had very similar net worth?
Yeah. Well, here's the interesting thing. It says I was looking up this thing. I said Paul Allen bought Trailblazers. When do you think he bought the Trailblazers?
He bought it, I think. Let me see.
Well,
when did Paul Allen buy the Trailblazers? When did he buy the Trailblazers?
He bought it in 1988 for $70 million. So
$7 million.
70 million.
Blazers were 70 million back then?
Yeah, back in 1988, he bought them. So this whole era, he would have to buy them way back then. And if you're talking about the guy who was selling them in like 2001, he was already owned a team, so he couldn't buy the team. So that argument right there.
It's just unfortunate that Barry Ackerley, he happened to buy the team. He wasn't that great of an owner either.
Barry who?
Barry Ackerley was the owner before Howard Schultz. And it's too bad that the Seattle Coffee King tried to... He said that was one of his biggest regrets.
So Barry Ackerley purchased the Seattle Supersonics in October of 1983.
Yep,
so
for $11 million.
Paul Allen bought a team.
Yep. But Paul Allen, hold on. What was Paul Allen's net worth in 1983? Because Microsoft didn't go public until 1986, so the timing was just off. Microsoft wasn't there yet.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah.
Did you know that Apple tried to sue Steve Jobs tried to sue Bill Gates for, quote, stealing his computer ideas? But did you know that Steve Jobs got his Macintosh idea from another company? Guess what company that was that he got it from?
What?
Take a guess. I'll give you one guess.
IBM?
Xerox.
Oh, Xerox. Because what they said that the reason why Apple is so exclusive and they don't want other people to make parts of them and stuff, a lot of times they want to be like their own thing, is because of the fact that they said that their software is stolen by Microsoft.
Yeah, and then as soon as Steve Jobs tried to sue them, then Xerox came in and was like, well, you took our idea, so we can sue you too. So the case never went anywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's a very interesting thing and stuff like that, you know. But hey, Joe, I've been so strongly on my soapbox about, remember the thing about the Indiana, the whole thing with like Oklahoma City not dominating the series, because you said they're going to dominate and win like in 5 games or something like that, and it's been a really competitive series.
Yeah,
it's been competitive, kind of.
But Game 7 is basically, if you have home court advantage, you pretty much win the series. Name one team that lost a Game 7, and it hasn't happened since 2016.
No, but what I'm saying is 79% of the time, yes, the home team wins. So you have a better chance. Yes. So basically 1 out of every 5 times somebody loses that's at home. So there's a possibility. But like I was just talking to my dad, he said that if Oklahoma City doesn't win this year, they're gonna never live this down and they're not gonna be able to win another championship.
No, they will, because they have a very young team.
But the thing about it is this gonna like really mess up their psyche?
No.
After winning 68 games in a season?
No.
You don't think it's gonna be a mental block for them?
No, they're too young.
You think so?
They have time.
Well, how old is SGA? SGA is 26.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Okay. So he still has about another 10 years at least on his career if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
It looks like we are back from the break. As Oklahoma, they're not even basically playing anybody that's of worthy, as this game is just completely winding down.
Yeah.
And
Well,
here's
Miles
a
Turner's
three-point
been on.
attempt, and he makes it. And now they just cut it to a 22-point lead.
Yeah. So Miles Turner is the best. It has been on Indiana maybe the longest. He's 29 years old. You think he would be a lot older, but he's only 29. He's not even 30 yet.
What, he's 29 years old?
Yeah, Miles Turner.
He's been in the league for a decade.
He's been with the Indiana Pacers. Guess what year?
Since 2014.
2015. So you're close. So basically a decade. Already.
Now Oklahoma has now cut it to a 20-point lead.
Seems like he's been playing.
Indiana is just running up the court, and this game is getting a little bit interesting, I guess.
Yeah, what? It's 22 points.
It's a 20-point lead now.
Okay.
It's already been cut down severely.
Yeah, but there's only 4 minutes and 37 seconds. You think they're really gonna come back from that?
There's a fadeaway shot by Oben.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting.
Obi Toppin. That's gonna be a rebound.
And he did play for Texas. He went to college, so wow.
Who, SGA? And now a fadeaway
Miles
shot
Turner.
by
He went to
Toppin, and he
Texas.
makes it. And Obi Toppin, he has scored 20 points. He has also been a major factor. And now here's a huge dunk. Here's a dunk by Oklahoma to make it 22. Less than 4 minutes left until Indiana forces a game 7.
Yeah. Who should be player of the game? Who should be MVP? Most valuable player.
I would say Obi Toppin or TJ McConnell were factors.
Okay.
I know you're giving it to Pascal Siakam.
Well, he had like if you look at Pascal Siakam's numbers right now, he's had 16 points and 13 rebounds.
And that'll do it.
But if you look at like Halliburton's had 14 points and 5 assists. So
it was really the bench. The bench was the factor of this game.
Well, look at this. The Obi Toppin guy had 20 points. He's had 20 points and 6 rebounds and 2 steals. So you could give it to them.
Now here's 0-0. And it's going for and that's going to be a foul. So with this game pretty much in its conclusion, what expectations do you have for Game 7? Do you expect it to be close? Do you expect Oklahoma to just blow them out? Or do you expect it to go down to the wire?
It depends on the team's mindsets. Who wants it more? If both teams really want it badly, it's going to be a very close game. But if one team basically just doesn't like put their all into it, it's going to be a one-sided game. Mindset does play a big thing in this. Also there is sometimes luck where one team just happens to play better, like happens to get luckier with their shots and other things like that. That's true too. But if both teams really want to say that they won a championship, then yes, they're going to try really hard to win this.
I'm going to say Oklahoma obliterates them.
You think so?
No, I think Indiana will have some kind of a close thing, but then they'll close it out at the very end.
So you're saying like a 15-point win or something?
10.
You think a 10? Okay.
It's going to be like hanging around 5s in the fourth quarter, and then Oklahoma will seal the deal.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at some other players here. There's this Andrew Nibahard. He had 17 points for Indiana, and he had
James Johnson is still in the NBA.
James who?
James Johnson. He was a 2009 first-round pick for Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, James Johnson's on this team.
Yeah. Talk about an old guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Says, did you just enter the game or something?
He just entered the game, yeah.
Okay. Because I was, yeah. Yeah, but it's interesting. Like every player so far, about one for Oklahoma City has played so far. Their best player of the game would have been SGA, who had 21 points and 4 rebounds and 2 assists. That'd be their best player of their game for Oklahoma City. and stuff.
3-point attempt and misses. And we're heading close to that 2-minute warning.
Okay, would you say that this player was a non-contributing factor? They had 4 points and 6 rebounds, and they had nothing else besides 2 turnovers.
That sounds like Hartenstein.
It was an Oklahoma City player.
Yeah, I know. Hartenstein.
Nope.
Chet Holmgren?
Chet Holmgren.
Whoa.
Would you say it's
really?
a non-factor in the game? He had 4 points but 6 rebounds. Would you say it's a non-factor? Is that one
That's
of
a
the reasons
huge non-factor. You gotta get more out of that.
Like, look at that. From like one of their stars. Like, no blocks, no steals, no assists, 2 personal fouls, 2 turnovers. I'm like, that was one of their stars underperforming. Because SGA did not have that bad of a game. They had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Nothing bad. That was not that bad.
Pretty much all sloppy. It's gonna be a 21-point lead for Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
As this game is coming to an end, and after this game, I gotta go out and walk.
No problem.
And a 3-point made by Oklahoma. 1 minute left in this game. And Epic C, I just want to say thank you very much for once again joining me in Game 6. Hopefully I can see you in Game 7.
Oh, look at this. Oklahoma City's played every single player on the roster.
And a 3-point attempt, and he makes it.
Mm-hmm.
Back to a 21-point game.
You look at this. You're talking about that Hartenstein guy. You want to know what his stat line is? What do you think their stat line was?
2 and 6.
10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 personal fouls. So they actually did better than Holmgren. So Holmgren is one of the people that let them down.
He did.
Yeah. You're talking about starters.
And Chet Holmgren has been one heck of a player.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think of this stat line? Okay, I'll show you this one. Okay, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist,
Jalen Williams.
2 blocks.
Jalen Williams.
No.
Who?
They played for the Indiana Pacers.
I don't know.
It was Miles Turner. They have 3 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. Do you think that's a good stat line?
No.
They had 2 blocks, though.
Oh, 2 blocks, that'll do it.
You know what I mean? 2 blocks in that stat line makes up for the fact they didn't do much else. They're such a good blocker that it makes up for the fact they don't do much else. Like Miles Turner. He was 0 of 3 from 3-point. Okay, of all the starters on Indiana, he's the only starter that didn't make a 3-pointer. Miles Turner.
Well, yeah, because he's not supposed to shoot those things anyway.
Well, the other big man made a 3-pointer. Pascal Siakam made a 3-pointer. He was 1 of 3.
Oklahoma City All-Stars were Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams. Chet Holmgren didn't even make it to the All-Star game. I'm surprised by that.
He was injured, remember, early in the season.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meta World Peace is actually seen at the All-Star game.
Did you ever change the name again, or is it still Meta World Peace?
Meta World Peace.
Wow, he never changed it again.
I will always know him as Ron Artest.
I know, it's funny that we know him as Ron Artest, but like there's a generation of people that only know him as Meta World Peace.
Yeah. Oh, looks like James Johnson. Looks like he may have been ejected from the game.
Already?
Yeah.
In 2 minutes? What?
It's insane.
How do you eject the game? So do you ever remember a player known as Jerry Stackhouse?
Yeah, of course. North Carolina product.
Yeah. He played, so I have a story here, and it's basically me and my dad went to a basketball game, the Sonics game, and they were playing Detroit Pistons. That was their best player. He's because my dad's from like Michigan, and the funniest thing about this story is that we went to the game to see Jerry Stackhouse. Halfway through the first quarter, guess what?
He got injured.
He got ejected from the game, and then we couldn't see him. We went there to see Jerry Stackhouse.
Was that? I think that was also the Patrick Ewing Sonics, was it?
I don't know if it was. It might have been like the year after or something.
So it would have been Gary Payton, Rashard Lewis for sure.
Yeah, but it was a Jerry Stackhouse game when Jerry Stackhouse played for the Detroit Pistons. So
I might be able to find that game.
Yeah,
I'll find that game and then I will sign off. And a 3-pointer made by Oklahoma. So and they bring it to within 17.
So he played for the Detroit Pistons from 1997 to 2002.
Oh wow, that long, huh?
So he played there for basically 5 years. So it would potentially have been somewhere between that era. So it's got to be, I think, at least 2000 to 2002. Maybe I went to see him. So maybe in 2001, maybe.
As we got 20 seconds left in this game.
Yeah.
And yes, Josh, you did. You went all the way down to 1947. Insanity. So it's Detroit Pistons. And now this time is winding down. And we're at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is it. The Oklahoma City Thunder will lose, and the Indiana Pacers have forced it all the way to a Game 7. And while I look up what that game was, take me to this entire game and what you saw keys to the game.
So the major key to the game to basically Indiana's win was the fact of all the steals and all the steals that they caused and had in the game versus the other team. And also the other thing was that how many turnovers the other team had. So one of the disadvantages to like Oklahoma City was the fact they had so many turnovers. But part of those turnovers were caused by steals from Indiana, which was a very strong part of their game. And when you are making and because of all those steals, it caused them to have a higher amount of field goals shot. And when you have more field goals shot, you should be able to score more points. And that really helped them through the game.
Yep. And I think the keys I saw was I was first freaking out when Indiana was just taking too many 3-pointers, which I still think is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed to have worked out anyway. And let's see how they did. 15 of 40, they took 42 3-pointers while Oklahoma took 30 3-pointers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Indiana played a little bit better on the 3-pointers. And the field goal percentage, none of them really played well. So it was really just a defensive game that it seemed. As the game ended 108-91, and in today's standard, that's basically kind of like a defensive type game. So going into Game 7, I think we've already talked about it, that you say is whoever wants it more. Me, I'm the Debbie Downer saying that the inevitable is coming, where us Sonics fans are going to suffer our former team winning the NBA Finals.
Like I said, it comes down to who wants it more, who plays harder, and other factors and stuff like that. You know, like sometimes you could want it more too, but if you get too emotional, sometimes you can get ejected from games and cause fouls. So there is a point there where you can overdo it and things. And also it is who makes their shots, you know, who comes up big with big shots in the moment and stuff like that. That's always going to be a huge factor. And like I said here, look at this. The Indiana Pacers had 92 field goal attempts. You know how many the Oklahoma City had?
How many?
74. That's almost 20 more. That's 18 more field goal attempts.
It means that Indiana was able to lock them down defensively.
But look at this. Indiana made 38 field goals. The other team made 31 field goals. That's 7. That's 14 points right there. Potentially. Right there. There's the difference in the game right there. It's the field goal attempts.
It's true.
It's the made field goals. The made field goals are basically one of the differences in the game. And then because how that happened, they were able to have more possessions because they had less turnovers.
They did.
Yeah. So that's going to be a big factor of the game is who, like they said, this game was actually won. Would you say it was won more by defense than won by offense?
It was absolutely defense because both of them did not score well at all.
Yeah. Because I remember you saying that earlier, the defense thing. But yeah, that's really, really interesting thing. And look at this. The Pacers only shot 68% from free throws. The other team had 80.8. They had almost the same amount of free throws attempts. It was 26-25. So free throws were even.
Yeah.
So if this game if they would have shot the same amount of field goals, they might have lost because their free throws weren't as good. you know. So just some really interesting things. So total turnovers. Look at this. Oklahoma City had 21 turnovers, and the Pacers had 11. 10 difference. So that's a huge factor in the game.
Really is.
Do you remember what the largest lead for the Oklahoma City was?
6.
8.
It was 8. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. The Pacers had 31 at one time.
Very much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the game. This was cool.
Hold
this was
on,
fun,
I found but I did find that game that you were looking for. That
Oh, you
Jerry
did?
Stackhouse got
Which
ejected.
game was it?
So it was
what year?
The Seattle Supersonics versus the Detroit Pistons on December 22nd, 2001.
2001. Yeah,
the Sonics won 117-89. And then here was Jerry Stackhouse. He played only 15 minutes because ejection.
Yeah.
He went 6 for 9. He was 2 for 2 from 3-pointers. So he was actually having a really good game. 18 points and gets ejected. Right.
Yeah. So it was early second. I got it wrong, but it was early second, basically quarter versus first quarter. But yeah. But still, like we went to go see Jerry Stackhouse. That was funny.
Ben Wallace had 8 points, 2 blocks, and 9 rebounds. And here is the Sonics. Brent Barry scored 15 points. Gary Payton, 20. Rashard Lewis, 18. Vladimir Radmanovich, 18. Art Long, out of all players, Art Long, their power forward, 13 points, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds. Earl Watson with 7 points. Desmond Mason only had like 4 points, but he did everything else like assists and rebounds, 4 and 3, whatever. Shamon Williams had 10 points with 2 3-pointers. So, and Vin Baker didn't even dress.
Yeah. What's interesting is because of this memory I have playing in my brain, this takes me back to 2001. I was a Sonics fan, at least at the earliest 2001. So I might have started in 2000.
I started in 2003.
Yeah, so I was like maybe I started in 2000, so I was like 3 years ahead of you. I was 3 or 4 years ahead of you.
I have huge regrets not getting into them earlier.
Yeah, because they didn't last much longer after you got into them. 5 years. I at least had a little bit longer time frame. But yeah, I got into basketball pretty early. You know, that's funny. That in memory of I remember him being ejected. It's kind of sad when you go to see a game and the player you want to watch gets ejected, you know, but at least you got to saw him for a short period of time. So I didn't know who Jerry Stackhouse really was.
At least he made your money's worth by scoring like 18 points, 2 of 2 for 3-pointers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that was a good team, you know. It's funny, like, you know, Brett, like one of my favorite players, I really like Brent Barry. I was a Brent Barry fan. I was a Rashard Lewis fan. You know, I was a Gary Payton, a Ray Allen fan. You know, I wasn't really a fan of most of their centers. Their centers were.
You know, the crazy part. I can name almost all of them: Calvin Booth, Jerome James.
But none of them were like ones you want to like you thought were great.
No,
as a
Jerome
player,
James was actually their best one, and he was not that good either.
But think about it, like players I like, because like the players I had big passions for. Like I said, another one was I was a really big Luke Lenhauer fan, and Vladimir Radmanovich. I was a huge fan of Vladimir Radmanovich.
What about?
But I was always a Rashard Lewis. That was one of my favorites of all time. Was Rashard Lewis.
I liked Antonio Daniels.
Okay, Antonio Daniels. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Antonio Daniels. Ronald Flip Murray.
Yeah, he was good. But they said injuries.
Well, yeah, the injuries killed his career. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else?
Nick Collison.
Yep, Nick Collison.
Reggie Evans.
Yep, Reggie Evans, the collector.
The collector.
What a great one.
Dude, if we went to high school, if I lived in Shoreline and we went to high school together, I think we would have had a big 3 between you, me, and our other friend that I'm not going to say his name, but we're going to that event together on Saturday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I'm gonna take off. Like I gotta get rolling. I'm just gonna do one clip. It's gonna be that buzzer beater to end the half and maybe the second half or that third quarter.
Yeah.
But Epic Sea Films, thank you for being here. And do you have any last minute words until I sign off?
Don't drink. Don't quit your day job. And enjoy life.
And go Sonics.
Go Supersonics.
Okay, how about this? Super
Sonics.
Super
Sonics.
Super.
Sonics.
All right, we're out of here. Bye bye.